Hey, welcome aboard. Martin, Doug, Jackson, the Kurt, here on a Thursday, TMA, the Morning After. Doug, what do you think they're going to say?
Well, I don't know what they're going to say, but I know what I have to say, and that's I'm just not going to be much good to you today. I just don't see it with the loss to the Nationals, and Brewers are hot, and I don't know if I can bounce back. I'll try and do my best, but I can't imagine that I'd be a whole lot of good to yous.
So yesterday you were of great good. Today you're no good.
I would think that that's probably going to be the case.
And if we went back and listened to the show yesterday, we would say, boy, Doug had a bounce.
You would notice, yeah.
From the midnight win over the Nats.
Some red hot takes yesterday.
Well, I think the lead, however, is, where's Tim?
Oh, where's Tim?
Thank you. Tim will be back next week, still on vacation. Not still. That sounds terrible, doesn't it? This guy, still on vacation. He's on vacation this week, back next week. And we will forge ahead here on the program. It's presented by Brown & Crouppen, and you can text in, and some people have already started on a Wednesday night. Doug, I saw a text that said Wednesday evening, shoot Palante into the sun.
Oh, gosh. The
latest to be shipped off to the sun. We've got a long list of contenders, according to the text line, which is 9399-9646. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. You can always call in. I think today might be a good phone call day. What's the the pulse of the people? And it doesn't have to just be Cardinals. Maybe people are headed to the lake a day early, Doug.
Well, I expect more than likely they're upset with what they've seen from this Cardinal ball club over the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Be my guess.
Okay.
Maybe they can get group rates on shooting people to the sun. There's at least 3, I think, that are
Call your
board.
local travel agent. I'm looking for a group rate. Yeah, what'd you have in mind? I've got a bunch of folks that I'm shipping straight to the sun. Phone lines are open. Chairman Kurt will handle those calls. 314-974-0101. Those are the Collier and Thompson phone lines. And we also have the YouTube chat where you can watch the show and chime in. It's the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. Stiefel Dossier lets you know that you are part of it. It's a big, wide-open Thursday, which is the way we like it, Doug. That way friends can, you never know, somebody will swing by.
We need elbow room because our takes, they go across vast oceans. And so we don't want to be corralled and pigeonholed into certain takes. We have them from a lot of different areas.
Baseball season's over. It's Prabula time. Boy Nachos. And I don't know if he wants to be called Boy Nachos, but his name says Mr. Mudjack Mike, but perhaps he's offering up a new name, which Jackson will do through tomorrow's show. You've got until Friday, July 11th. This is the latest on record. I looked at the Elias Stat Bureau. This is the latest Jackson's ever allowed name changes. All the way through Friday. So I don't know if Mr. Mudjack Mike wants to be called Boy Nachos or he's calling us Boy Nachos, but he says it's Prabula time. You know that Mizzou season, still a ways away, Doug, but the SEC Media Days are next week. It feels right? Doesn't it feel awfully soon?
It does. It's because, for me anyway, when the weather's nice, the time just flies. It feels like the weather just recently started to get nice. And I guess it's been 3 or 4 months now. But it kind of feels like we should still be in May. And here we are almost in the middle of July.
Doug, what's the tariff for sending a pitcher to the sun? That's from Tim's Toothless Bottom Boy.
Well, the sun has been charging us tariffs for years, so these are more or less reciprocal tariffs. So they've got no reason to complain. What's fair is fair.
Morning, all. Have a good day. Skip's mom. That's from Lisa, who has a Ripken-esque streak of texting in about Skip Schumacher. She wants him to do the next manager. You can't rule it out. FYI, he did more than single. A-L-A-A-L-A-A-L-M-A-O.
What does that mean?
Well, I know what the L-M-A-O is, but what's the A space in front of it? Jackson, you're the youngster on the show. What do you got?
So the text was A-L-M-A-O?
Yes. Always laughing?
Possibly a typo, because LMAO, Doug, laughing my ass off.
Right, I know that, but the A in front of it.
I don't know.
I'd knock it off with the A's.
I'm going to chalk that up to a simple
typo.
That's what I think. A little misstep.
Okay. All right. So texters, change your name. You now have an extra day. Brought to you by Jackson Burkett. We'll dig deep into this Cardinals' latest loss. Doug, that's what you call kind of a quiet loss. My colleague Kevin Ryan's down there last night post-game, and I said, how's it looking? He said, Pretty quiet. And it's sort of known that when you go in there, the starting pitcher, whether they threw 7 shutout innings or if they got knocked out in the first, they just sort of stand there waiting for the gauntlet. And after that, he said, crickets, which is fine.
Not much.
Not much you can say.
Didn't make much noise.
No, it's
Palante
fine.
gave up some cheap hits, but he also gave up a couple of bombs.
Doug, he was pitching to contact.
I guess that's okay as long as the contact doesn't leave the yard.
Ball, and it would be funny if Holly said, well, he's pitching to contact, and we said, we saw. Yeah, we saw that. Balls in play, right? Or what is it? B-A-I-P-P-I. There's like
batting average, balls put in
Babbitt?
play.
Babbitt.
Yeah.
Okay. He actually been pretty good. You know, we don't give credit where credit's due. In his previous 3 starts, Palante had got 18 innings, 2 runs. But all of that shifts now, I think, Doug. I think the lead is really going to be crowdsourcing. And my question is, your expectation for tonight. Miles Michaelis is on the bump. You're going for a series win, which is the real Cardinals record.
Yeah.
Which the dossier, Steve Dossier points out, the Cardinals' current record is 15-12-2. 15-12-2. And they were 15-10-2 a week ago. So they're slipping in the all-important series win total,
No,
Doug.
that doesn't matter at all.
Well, I don't know. That's what the dossier says.
Number of wins is all that matters. I'm going to go out on a limb here because I'm a controversial host. I'm going to say Michaelis is going to have a good game tonight.
You know what? I agree.
I think he's due.
I think whenever the narrative is so strong in one direction, it sort of shifts on it just naturally. Last 2 starts for Miles Michaelis covering 10 innings. We're talking 10 innings, 17 hits, 14 runs, 8 home runs. 10 innings, 17 hits, 14 runs, 8 home runs.
Well,
that's Michaelis in his last 2 outings. Doug, however, is predicting a no-hitter tonight.
Yeah, I think you're playing with stats. You're just making numbers work for your argument. Even though these other teams have been scoring runs.
But those are the stats. Those are the stats.
Even though the other teams have been scoring runs like they used to in those Bug Bunny cartoons. Remember when they would it was like a revolving door? But he's a better pitcher than that. Historically, he's been better than that. And maybe he's just completely hit the end of the line. I'm going to guess no. That he'll bounce back tonight
give me
have a good start.
Stat line. What are you predicting?
Tonight he'll go 6 innings and give up 3 runs.
Wow, that is what we call a quality start, Doug. I'm going to go 4 2/3. Jackson, please write all of this down because then tomorrow when we forget to bring it up, we'll have it handy.
So,
Doug says that Miles Michaelis, friend of the show, great stash, by the way.
great stash.
Tom Selleck-esque stash. Doug says he's going to go 6 innings, giving up 3 runs to the robust Nationals. I'm going to go 4 2/3. Comes out in that inning. One of the stranded runners left on base scores. I'm going to go 4 earned runs.
Okay, so 4 earned runs. How many innings for you, Martin?
4 2/3.
Okay, 4 2/3. And Doug, you said what?
6.
Okay.
Jackson's on a delay.
It's numbers. You spitting out a lot of numbers at me, where there's fractions involved.
We already caught you playing with stats.
And no earned runs for you, Doug. 6 numbers.
3.
Okay, let's not get out of
I have
ourselves.
a feeling that whatever is written down is going to be wildly inaccurate.
No.
Doug predicted a 10-inning no-hitter. You went all Harvey Haddocks on us. The unknown DJ said, let's hold off on that trip to the sun until Michaelis gets knocked out of the game in the 3rd inning. There it is. Predictions for friend of the show, Miles Michaelis, who was on a few weeks ago. He's fun to talk to. And the texter said, I really enjoy him. I wish he'd get DFA'd and join the show.
Oh.
To which he would probably laugh. Kevin at the Lake pointing out something I made note of last night. It's nothing new, but it is July. The teams played some decent ball. They're 10 over at home going into last night. And Kevin at the Lake said tumbleweeds in the stands last night. Bob Carpenter mentioned it. Bob Carpenter, longtime announcer for the Nationals, St. Louis guy, used to call Cardinals games. And apparently on the Nats broadcast, he mentioned it as well. There are just so many. Now, right in the green seats where Jackson sits, it was fairly full. But once you see a wider shot, you see that home run in the first. And granted, it's the first. Maybe people hadn't settled in yet. As the game goes on, just huge sections. And we were pulling some video last night for the piece on Matt Carpenter. And it's amazing. Like, he'd home run, and just, as he's rounding the bases, just looking, there's just people everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what would be, if you could do some sort of timeline, the seasons, just watch those seats fill up, and then just the drastic change this year. And it's pretty clear. I think if this team were 10 games over, it'd be the same. It's pretty clear people have kind of dug in on this.
Ben Hochman reported just shy of 21,000.
Well, that's what they sell.
Yeah.
Of course. So, I don't know what their season ticket base is, but it's probably pretty close to that.
Yeah.
And
Used to be anyway.
Yeah, it might be close to 20, which is a drop-off. But still, yeah, you're right. How many people just bought a ticket to go to that game?
It's really pretty shocking.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long ago when that was the thing to do in St. Louis. Everybody went. I mean, the place was packed virtually every game. Last night, the weather was pleasant. It's not a school night. Nothing else going on in town. And people just not interested. Remember what it looked like at Wrigley Field this past weekend? That's what Busch Stadium used to look like every
And
time
granted,
they
that's a
played.
weekend, Cards-Cubs, but still, this weekend you'll see tons of empty seats again. And the Braves are a pretty good draw historically. But it did seem notable last night. Hey, it's the summer. Everyone's out of school. Team plays pretty well at home. They're not great, but they're not bad. Hey, come on down to the old ball yard.
Yeah, what would it be like if they were 10 games under 500?
Right.
It would look like a Pirates game.
I was looking at the shopping list. Jeff Passan has a match for every team, Doug, what they need. And almost every team is getting a Pirate.
We could use a Pirate pitcher or two.
They could use a reliever. I'll give them Bednard from the Pirates. It's like America's shopping market, the Pittsburgh Pirates. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. Ali Marmol, Andre Plante, their thoughts. 8-2 was the loss last night, and rather quiet loss. The good news is the Wild Three, the Giants, the Padres, the Cardinals, all three lost. So you're still a game and a half back in the wild card race. Right there, Doug.
Yeah. Right
where you want them. Text in. A lot of folks have already done that. Your predictions on the Michaelis outing tonight. Jackson will keep track of every single one of them. And we'll go through it tomorrow to see who wins the big prize. The text line, of course, 399-9646. It's TMA, brought to you by Brown and Crouppen. Hey, welcome back. TMA brought to you by Brandon Crouppen, Martin, Doug, Jackson, Kurt with you, taking your phone calls. And we open up the phone lines, Doug. It's the 7 o'clock hour. The consultants have said it's the best time to get the pulse of the people. Get them while they're fresh.
Okay.
Because you don't want a cooling off period. If you're a reporter going into the locker room, Doug, you want to just get right to it. They let them cool off, then they don't say something they regret later.
Right.
We want them when they're red hot. And Jackson's dad, no longer known as Jackson's dad, Kurt even calls him and just, hey, what's up, Barge Guy? Barge Guy's on the line. Welcome. How are we, sir?
Hello, Bargy.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
Oh, we're fine. You?
How was it? Didn't you have a vacation last week?
I just got back. I've been in Louisville for 3 days.
Oh, and then you had Six Flags before that. Look at this guy.
Yeah. And then I work tonight, and then I'm off for 5 days. It's a beautiful schedule.
Huh.
What'd you do in Louisville?
Family reunion.
Oh, you weren't on the barge down there. You just drove.
Yeah, we drove down.
Okay.
I had to show off my Jackson. You know, he didn't get to see those folks very much. So.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
A little bond. It sounds like a bonding trip.
It really was. It was a really great trip, actually. It was a lot of fun and relaxing in the hotel and after the party. So, yeah, we had a good time.
You and Jackson ever go to a Cardinals game?
We went last year for his first game, and he ended up getting the merch. He's big on merch at his age. So he got the big, huge chain with the Cardinal thing on it, like he's a rapper.
Yeah.
And he thought that was great. And he made it all the way to the sixth inning before he really lost interest.
Well, it happens to a lot of people these days.
It does.
Thank you.
Leading
Doug,
into the
that was a
segue.
good
Nice
one.
job, Doug. Nice.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Not only did he laugh, then he complimented you after the laugh. What's on your mind, Barge Guy? You just kind of enjoying life?
Being a lifelong Cardinal supporter, I mean, 58 years old, I've seen everything. Whitey Ball, Tony Ball, Albert, the whole thing. It's been amazing. And, having a pulse on this team, it really just boils down to starting pitching. I mean, the clubhouse is engaged. I mean, I love the reels you see about them getting off the field and complimenting each other in the wins. The kids are really doing great on the team. I mean, everybody's progressing. They just don't have the starting pitching to be that great. And there's really no other thing to say to it. And there's not going to be a quick cure. They could catch fire and get into the playoffs, but they just don't have the starting pitch.
Barge Guy, what do you think tonight, Miles Michaelis? What are you feeling? What are you predicting?
Well, I'll stick with what you guys are saying. Let's hope for 3 or 4 earned runs, and he's going to give you 6 or 7 innings, whether he's getting pounded or not.
It's true. He will stay out there. The man will take a beating, Doug. He will take a beating. It says that on the back of his baseball card. He'll take a beating. All right, Barge Guy, thanks for checking in. Congrats on the vacation.
Thank you. I appreciate it, gentlemen.
All right, then, Bargy.
Very rational thought.
I see the Cardinals are currently ranked 20th in the major leagues in pitching. That's based on ERA. 20th. I would like to hear what people have to say of what the Cardinals need to do to bring the fans back. Is it as simple as just winning more, or is there deeper-rooted problems within the city?
I think when Mo leaves and then people hear whatever the direction is that they've been kind of waiting to hear. This is a large number of folks who have expressed this consistently, that they're waiting till Mo leaves and then they're waiting for more of a specific plan. But I also think star power, for sure. Look at what the Miz is doing in Milwaukee. People are buzzing about that, and he's only playing every 5th game. By the way, the Brewers swept the Dodgers. And you just look at the Milwaukee roster every year. Now, they don't win in October, so that's kind of a big thing. Horrible in the playoffs.
Well, but getting there is a big thing, too.
Absolutely.
Having a team to root for 6 months is pretty nice.
And giving you a reason to go throughout the summer. The Brewers are now 13 games over 500. 13 games. Release the Hoosier is all the text says.
I guess,
in other words, they're ready. It's time, Doug. If they're ever going to tap into that, and I'm actually being serious, I think if they're ever going to do it.
A lot of volunteers. There has to be more than just one reason, though, I would think, why people that used to go to the games religiously just don't seem to go at all anymore.
Lower the parking costs. That's from the 314. Team needs to get sold first from the 636.
Well, the parking's not, most of that's not on the Cardinals. The Cardinals don't own most
it's surrounding
of the
folks trying to, and maybe they're charging more because less people are showing up.
Yeah, probably.
Instead of having 500 cars, it's 200 cars. Well, this is double the price. Move out of downtown. That's an inch. I don't think it'll ever happen. I don't want it to happen. But if this same team were playing in Earth City at that stadium they were going to build for Gene McNary, would more people be going? Do you believe that, Doug? And I would say maybe a little bit, but not much.
You have to wonder if you fast forward 20, 25, 30 years where the next stadium will be built. And I would, at the rate it's going, I would doubt it would be downtown.
The unknown DJ said, I moonlight as an Uber driver because I'm #blessed. The lack of traffic heading towards the ballpark yesterday was very noticeable. I think the only people buying the single game tickets these days are the poor saps who have to travel for work to St. Louis from better cities, and they're looking for anything to do in this cow town, Doug.
Oh.
Was that Jeffrey Leonard or Chili Davis? I always get those two.
This is one of the two. They were in on it together.
Okay.
It is
a lot of barge
depressing.
guy comments coming in as well. Can we get this out of the way? How are Sharon's abs today? That's from Sharon's Ledoux Pool Boy.
How are Sharon's abs?
Abs, that's what it says. The Gray Summit Gray Goose Guzzler. Every team goes through some slumps when they don't play well. The good teams only go through these once or twice a year. The average teams like the Cardinals seem to go through it several times a year in terms of the ups and the downs. Guys, the Arnold Mule here. Went to a game a couple of weeks ago, parked at Keener Plaza because it's the only place still somewhat affordable. Stayed the whole game, still a ghost town, walking back to the car. A lot of interesting characters hanging around the old Mike Shannons and in that park. Outside of the ballpark itself, it's just not a family-safe environment. That's somebody who walked a couple of blocks after. I got to say, I look at that Mike Shannons that's gone. It makes me kind of sad that that's not there, doesn't it?
To think that whole area was thriving with people and had Tony's right there, the best restaurant in town.
Even the bar that was Anthony's was connected there.
Yeah.
Kind of a quiet little spot.
Millennium Hotel.
Doug used to go there between sportscasts. He'd run over to Anthony's and have a martini.
They had a lunch place there that I went to several times. Not right around the corner from Anthony's. But the Millennium Hotel used to have some huge banquets. Remember that?
But they're bringing that back. They are going to redo that whole area. Thank God. Because it's just a big tower sitting there.
Yeah.
Could film Escape from New York Part 2 in it because it's just sitting empty. Did you see the tower? The rendering? Sports guys love a good rendering. The new apartment business tower. It's going to be...
It looks fantastic.
It looks about 40 stories high.
But they say office buildings, does anyone need office space anymore?
I think you can make it work if you can have mixed use, is the phrase, Doug. Mixed use. That way you're not dependent.
And who's going to put their office there? If they do, it's going to be someone moving from another office downtown.
What if they block Biff's view or Chairman Steve's view? They're going to block the view.
Do that.
A lot of people are suggesting what Miles Michaelis will do tonight against the Nats. Miles Michaelis, final line 4 1/3, Jackson. 5 earned runs. 2 Ks, 3 walks, 86 pitches.
Oh, God.
It's okay.
That's not great.
For our wildly inefficient innings eater is what it says. What do the TV ratings say? I feel like TV ratings are always down across we're always talking about TV ratings just in general. But I don't know. I think they're probably down a little bit. I haven't seen is it Don Caesar has not written about that lately? Guys, another attendance take. You're going to talk about this every week. We get it. Attendance is down because of the 2 to 3 year performance. I think it was notable because it's July and the team's 10 over at home. Fair enough. We'll take your text, take your calls. In fact, Lisa right now is on the Callier and Thompson phone line. Is this Skip's mom?
Hello?
Hello, Lisa.
Is this Skip's mom? He said.
Skip's mom. Hey, guys. Well, I'd be a little young to be Skip's mom. Hey, guys. First of all, thanks for taking my call.
Oh, sure.
And, no, it's good to hear your voice. Martin, will you be next Wednesday night? Will you be at Tony's? fundraiser, first of all?
Yeah, he asked me if I was going, and I said, I'm covering it. And he said, well, what does that mean? I said, I'm going to be covering it, like get some interviews and do some reports and all. Yeah, I'll be down there. Looking forward to that. What a lineup. I think Will Clark, even though he was here the least of all the people on that celeb list tonight, I think he'll steal the show in terms of being funny.
Him and Lance Berkman always make me giggle. Hey, I just got when they talk about attendance with the Cardinals, if you really look back, like since 2016, when they didn't make the playoffs, they still drew huge numbers. Guys, it's not been like this is just the first season. I mean, it's just been they've watched it decline. And so, they've not been smart. They're tone deaf. I mean, down the street's a team that kind of gets PR, not tone deaf to their fans. And I don't know. I mean, Mo's just done. So this isn't new. Look at the attendance. And earlier on my text, what I meant about the single A, they hire managers now that never played above single A or managed above single A. Come on. This is the St. Louis Cardinals. They should cut their teeth on the Rays or the Royals. You don't cut your teeth on the St. Louis Cardinals, Mo. So with that said, I will go back when I see them committed to winning. I mean, this is part of my DNA. I was raised by my grandpa, so this is part of my DNA. And I will love this team forever. But somebody do some research. 2023, they lose 91 ball games and don't have an end-of-the-season press conference. They're holding on to a manager in his fourth year that hasn't won a playoff game. Really? Okay. So just some thoughts. It's not about the money. Who cares? Let me tell you something. I don't give a shit.
Watch it. Oh, wow.
Oh. Sorry. But think about it. If they're winning, we'll go. You guys, if they're winning, the ballpark, the parking won't matter. The stadium will be filled.
I agree with
blah,
that.
blah, blah, blah.
Well, they are 5 games over 5. They're 5 games over 500 now.
Doug, we all know that they're not a playoff team. If you know baseball, you know they're not.
Doug, do you know baseball?
Well, sometimes I think so, and other times maybe not.
I know you do. So you know you need a superstar. You know you need pitching staff, and you got to have a manager. This team will never be able to spend the most, so shouldn't we have the smartest in the dugout, just like what Army did for the Blues? I'm sure the Bannister man was a fine man.
Bannister man.
The Bannister man was a fine man. My point is, we can't spend the most, so shouldn't we be the smartest dugout leadership you can get? So there you go.
All right, thank you, Lisa. Clean it up the rest of the day.
It's not that hard. All right, bye, guys.
All right, so we'll see.
Dropping S-bombs. Trying to run.
Well, then you don't understand pitching, and that's okay.
Say that again.
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry.
I agree with most of what she said. I'm not sure when she said this is nothing new with the attendance. I think it is pretty new. I mean, they've been drawing huge crowds for a long time, going all the way back to, I guess, the McGuire years, the late 90s. It's been pretty much one of the top drawing teams in baseball since then.
Yeah, even when they were descending in the last couple of years, you'd still most nights say, hey, 32,000, again, sold tickets. Last night, 21. Somebody asked for Michaelis's splits between day and night. Doug, do you think he's better at night or during the day?
I'll say he's better at night.
Okay, he is actually better during the day with a ERA of 4.62. So that's
still not great.
Is that this season or his career?
That's this season. Okay. Daytime ERA, Miles Michaelis, 4.62. And that's including what took place in Chicago the other day. So maybe it was much better. His ERA at night, Doug, is 6.05.
Now, that's not great.
And tonight is a day game?
It is. No, it's a night game.
Right. I said tonight.
Sometimes I come in and out of
I think we've lost Jackson because of all the clerical work. You're doing a lot of clerical work.
No. Over his career, he's slightly better during the day than at night. Okay. Not by much, but
his ERA this season at night is 6.02. People are texting in exact numbers they have in mind for I don't know that we'll be able to track all of it. Maybe in the morning tomorrow I'll do a big audit and find somebody who came the closest, and then we'll give them $5.90. Write them a check. Let's see. Just did some quick math. Since 2023, Miles Michaelis has a 23-30 record, 5.08 ERA, Earned run, that's his earned run average, $18.5 million each of those years. That 2023 contract extension was Matt Carpenter all over again. Mo can't get out soon enough. That's from the Grumpy Cornhole. Guys, he's better when he's not pitching. That's interesting. And they always show him. He's always on the top stoop, isn't he, in the dugout?
Yeah.
I feel like he gets shown like on a national game. He's always most visible.
Yeah. Well, he's got that great mustache.
And usually has the hat off with his hair flowing. And
Yeah.
And because he looks like a sheriff in a Western movie that's going to clean up the town.
He does. But they went to, Dallas. It was either last year or this year. He was wearing a cowboy hat. And I was like, that works. That works for you.
So he's great when he's not pitching, is what you're saying. The last playoff series against the Phillies wasn't even sold out. And that's a year we had Albert.
Yeah, remember that?
Yachty.
But in fairness, that I've referenced this before. Right after the All-Star break, the Yankees came in town, and they had the highest attendance Busch Stadium's ever had for a Cardinal game in August of 22. So it's not that far off from where we are now.
Yeah, but that was probably some Yankee fans, a lot of them mixed in there, too.
No doubt.
But it used to be for a playoff game, people would camp outside for the right to buy tickets to get in.
But I'm saying in the now almost 20-year history of Busch Stadium, the fact that in 2022 a regular season game against the Yankees was the highest attended game in history of the stadium, that includes 2 World Series teams, is impressive there, but also that's recent history. That's very recent history.
The last few years remind me of the 90s, right before they signed McGuire. Barely above 500, hardly any fans. Now, when McGuire arrived, that was less than a year removed from being in the NLCS, where you could have beaten the Braves. So they weren't like down and out when McGuire arrived. In fact, when he got here, those teams, that season, the next couple of years, were not playoff teams.
And they still had star power during those early 90 years. Ozzie was still on the team.
Even Langford was a star.
Yeah.
Brian Jordan was a really good player who was also really popular. By the way, Jackson, your boy King sucks. Now they're going after John King, who's struggling a bit.
Yeah, the crown is faltering a little. We still have faith in His Majesty, but it's not been the best for John King.
People are broke, can't afford to go. I think the economy and work, I think that is a factor.
I'm sure it's a mixture of everything.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just that there's a lot more money, a lot more things to spend your money on in terms of entertainment than there was 15, 20 years ago.
What is it? What else is happening in St. Louis that's drawing people away?
Somebody did text earlier and said it's kind of like L.A. There's just too much to do.
Well, I'm not saying necessarily like insane. Like, I'm talking about on your television. There's a lot more options for entertainment than there was 20 years ago. There's a lot more things to do in that regard. And with prices going up everywhere, it's like, do I want to spend my money on that? Or I can stay at home, save money, hang out with the family, not go downtown. You know, there's no one thing that's causing attendance issues. I think it's a mixture of things. But performance on the field is certainly a major factor over the last few years.
The Big Show told us, kill it, boys. Kill it today. That's at 7:04. And then the Big Show has offered up more. Miles will give up 3 bombs with that batting practice fastball. That's probably what we should predict is the home run. I'm going to set an over-under at 1.5.
Okay.
On the home run served up tonight.
Put that out there. The Nationals
over-under.
do play tomorrow in Milwaukee. So they got a night game.
So you think they're in a hurry?
Well, probably not. It's a night game in Milwaukee. It's not like they play a Friday day game. But usually a Thursday is a day game or an off day. So maybe they're looking to get out of town.
You think maybe they're not dialed in?
I don't know. You never know.
Hey, I like this caller. Now get back in the kitchen and finish my breakfast.
Oh, gosh.
That's from the recovering alcoholic. The next one said, Reverend Lisa. Well said.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what kind of crowd they would get if they had a night where ticket prices were cut in half and concession prices were, $2 for a hot dog and $2 for a beer, and they waived the parking price. I know you couldn't do that because it's owned by a million different operators.
Sure.
But I just wonder what it would cost if they had one of those like minor league pricing nights to see if that would make a difference.
You'd probably have to promote it pretty far in advance.
Yeah, of course. But
Dammy Beefcake says St. Louis fans may be passionate, but man, they're dumb as hell.
St. Louis fans are dumb as hell?
That's what it said.
I take exception to that. Standing ovations for ground balls to second.
And the people in St. Louis suck.
They're not a valid competitor. I would think maybe contender even. Let's see. Just some thought here. Turkey and Swiss on rye, please. Make it snappy. I think that's for Lisa, who called in. Lil Bearcats, who just celebrated the big 21st birthday. He is a second-generation TMA fan, Doug.
Sure.
Hashtag YapFest. But she's right. Sharon and Clayton. Lisa is spot on. Till she swore. This is a family show. We're going to keep things on track. I'm going to be on track today.
Yeah.
What do you say? It is the morning after. It's brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. Great dialogue. We've got a new system. If you call in, Kurt scribbles on a little piece of paper and hands it to
That's
me.
what he was doing. I thought he was handing you Michaelis's day-night splits.
No. We have a new system. So if you want to call in, we'll make sure we have plenty of paper and pen so that the Kurt can write it down for me. It's 974-0101. That is the Callier and Thompson phone line. This is TMA, brought to you by Brown & Crouppen.
TMA is brought to you by St. Louis-based Stifel, a leading wealth management and investment banking firm. Stifel is the firm where success meets success and has been since 1890. It is a historic St. Louis company. They were founded in downtown St. Louis way back in 1890, and they are on the same street today. The company headquartered on the same street it was when they first started. They're proud to have called St. Louis home for 135 years now. They partner with the Cardinals and the Blues and now the Stifel Charity Classic, and they also sponsor Stifel Theater. Stifel is honored to support the city, the people, and its future. With financial advisors in 12 offices across the region, Stifel helps clients right here in St. Louis and nationwide manage their hard-earned wealth. Stifel also provides banking, lending, and trust services and has a full-service investment bank. Basically, when it comes to finance, Stifel has you covered as one of the fastest growing wealth management firms in the world. Their tagline is, where success meets success. It's no wonder why they decided to partner with a winning program like this one right here. Stifel Nicholas and Company Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals back in action tonight, taking on the Washington Nationals following the loss last evening. Miles Michaelis taking the mound for the Redbirds for the 6:45 p.m. first pitch. That was another Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
What's your name? Yeah.
What are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Bring it to the loo.
Is that the key to the whole thing? Like Julian Tavares used to wash his hands with his own urine. Remember that? What a glorious
I've heard
time
that
was.
story.
Wait, Kurt is busy scribbling notes.
That wasn't washing hands. That was supposedly to prevent blisters.
Right, I know. I didn't really think he was washing his hands with urine.
Was he no batting gloves or was he weeing on his batting gloves?
Well, he was a pitcher.
He would try
Never
and
mind.
get his hands.
That's what I meant.
Next thing you're going to ask, did he play for the Blues or something? Guys, people are too busy playing pickleball to waste time at Busch. You think that's what it is, Doug? The pickleball craze?
I don't know. I guess it's just everything. It's everything together.
A lot of great text. And it's not just attendance, because somebody said this is a big deal. This was a major downtown entity that all of a sudden people are ignoring. It is a topic. Bob Carpenter, that would be interesting to get his take, because he grew up in St. Louis. Went to McBride High School and then called Cardinal games. And we saw this last year. Remember the Padres came in late in the year and they were just shocked to see it this way. So we're kind of auditing. We're doing this. We're workshopping this together, and that's why we have the phone lines open. And Keaton is on the line. Keaton, welcome to the show.
Keaton.
How are you guys?
Oh, we're fine. You?
Is that your first name, Keaton?
Yeah, Keaton's my first name.
I like that.
Right.
I like that.
Yeah, y'all keep talking about auditing. I'm an auditor that works right next to downtown. I'm tired of these birds. Tired of them.
Tired of the birds?
Well, just the cards. Like, I think you guys were talking about the problem of trying to get people into the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
I think the problem was that the fans for years have said, we're tired of Ali Marmol. We're tired of Ali Marmol. And then they go and say, you know what? We're ready for a 2-year extension. Why? What are we doing? I think Ali Marmol's biggest thing is continuity. We don't play the same guys every day. Brendan Donovan's played 70 games this year, 75 games this year, same as Lars Nootbaar. These are guys that haven't hit the injury list. Why aren't they playing? Oh, we don't like them against lefties. Garrett Hampson and Brian Valade aren't any better against lefties. What are we doing?
Well, I don't know. But you think people actually go because of who the manager is? You think that affects attendance?
I don't know that it's necessarily who the manager is. I think that it's just a lack of – I think it's just tone deaf. They hear, they hear that we don't like this guy, we don't like this guy. We're actually going to do the opposite, and we're going to sign him to a 2-year. I mean, Mike Matheny was the manager for years, and I think that a lot of people weren't the biggest fan, and the Cards were still busy. The games were busy.
Do you go to games? Do you go to games, Keaton, or have you chosen not to?
I've gone to 4 this year, and we're 1-3. I'm actually not. I'm striking myself because I don't want to keep going if we're going to lose. I feel like I'm a part of this problem.
Doug, do you look at the splits and see how they do when Keaton's there as opposed to day night?
I haven't yet. I guess I should.
Keaton, what's your concession of choice?
Great question.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I mean, the right field $5 beers are concession of choice, to be honest with you.
For sure. But what if you're looking to, have a little grub?
Man, I don't know that I've eaten at the game in a while. A dog in the I was in the right field bleachers the other day, just sweating it out, and the Cards gave up 3 hits against the Cubs.
Yeah, that right field can be the Valley of the Sun some days.
Dude, it was hotter than the Dickens. It was dumb. But
you went, buddy. All right, I appreciate it. I like people who, And you don't have to be somebody going to the games, but if you're a passionate Cardinal fan and you're fired up and you want to talk about it, I'm always interested if you go to the game, you support them in your own way, but you're also mad, which is fair. I think a lot of people are frustrated. And I do think the game has changed where these lineups, every team does it. They crunch the numbers, they move guys up or down, and then they play. Yeah. Unless you have, how many Mookie Betts are there where you're going to play every single day? I think star power is probably a bigger question, because if you had a star, back in the day, I'm sure Albert probably played 152, unless he's injured. You just played those guys almost every day.
True. The Braves 3 years ago, they had Matt Olson, Austin Riley, and Ronald Acuna all played right around 160 games. And it's like, that was a team that won 90-plus games. There's something about going to the ballpark every day saying, hey, I'm going to be in the lineup and I'm going to be playing second base. Brendan Donovan might show up today and play center field for all we know. We have no idea.
Yeah. And some of that is Donovan's unique skill set. Something Max Muncy moves all over did when he was playing for the Dodgers for injury. But Keaton, don't be a stranger, buddy. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Okay, Steven is next. Doug, we are full. You've cleared the lines, and now they're full.
Okay.
Steven, it says on my note here, I've got scribbled notes. I think this is when you're in grade school. You'd pass these to people a little. Steven, yes.
Yes. Hello. How you doing today, guys?
Oh, we're fine. Good. You?
Hey, thank you for having me on the show.
Sure.
So, about the attendance, he brought up 2022 with the Yankees coming in town, and I managed Bravo Oyster at that time, and even before then, they were saying how the Yankees haven't been in town for like 30 years. So, yes, it was going to be a big weekend. But the attendance was just so down after that, even into 23, 24, 25. And my thing is just the inconsistency of the play. And we've been wanting a star player, a big pitcher for years. I remember going to the games back in the early 90s with Bernard Gilkey and Bob Tewksbury and all that, and Tom Pagnozzi. People still came, even with the AstroTurf being 125 degrees, people were still out there.
Mm-hmm. I think COVID, we're looking at the last 5 years now, coming out of COVID, spending habits change, people going out in public. I think that's got to be a piece of this.
Well, yeah, for sure. But, the sales at that, especially Broadway Oyster Bar, dropped because of the Cardinals play as well. And I think a lot of businesses around there obviously did as well, because everything closed up. Caruso's, Mike Shannon's, all that. Theodore's. Like you said, it was very, very popular for a long time.
Yeah, I think if people would come downtown, they weren't sticking around as much.
Yeah.
No, you just come down for the game, and before people came before the game, after the game, but now it's just we're going to see the game, and after that, we're out of here.
Yeah. The reputation of the city has just absolutely tanked in the last 5 to 10 years. It's sad, really has. And you see stories about what happened on the 4th of July with the fireworks fights in the streets and 60 people arrested. And every time a story like that comes out, there's more people who say, I'm just not going down there to fight it.
But you also have the new tower, the Millennium Tower, those are going to have residential. And if you look just beyond the core of downtown, you look kind of the Cortex area, all those new apartment buildings are going up over by Topgolf. There's huge apartment complexes. So I do think some people are living in the, quote, city, but maybe not in that greater downtown corridor.
No, not at all. But also, too, I want to bring up, the Sonny Gray dilemma and problem and what's going on. I think he starts a lot of home games, and they're trying anything to get people into that stadium. So they're like, let's just start Sonny Gray. Let's sit him against the Cubs and let's bring him home. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you for the call. And, boy, the texters are now busy, Doug, because they don't like it when people call in. But we're going to give you one more. It's Mark in Quincy. Other side of the break. Oh, Jackson runs a tight ship. We've got to take a break here. It's 7:51. That time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers. It's the morning after. People chiming in. Somebody said, okay, Martin, so spending only chains in St. Louis. What about Chicago, New York, Boston? They still draw great crowds. Yes, the COVID piece of it is not across the board because in some places, people are still going. But I think
there was a study that came out a few years ago that said St. Louis had the worst recovery of COVID from like any major city in North America.
In terms of what? Like spending?
In terms of the lack of people that continue to come to the downtown core.
No more calls, hosts only. Is that from inside the building? Is it outside? It is TMA on this Thursday. Martin, Doug, the Kurt, the Jackson here. Brought to you by Brown and Crouppen.
Aestheticdesignandbuild.com is where you want to go if you want to set yourself up for the warm weather we now have in the St. Louis area. That's Dan and his team with their showroom in Chesterfield Valley. It's aestheticdesignandbuild.com. The weather warming up, so now you get to spend time outside with the family. They can take care of your outdoor living space with customized work, such as a full-on custom deck. If you want to add on a pergola, or you're starting to see more and more of these people adding on by adding shade to your covered patio with retractable screens. That's what they can do for you at Aesthetic Design and Build. Go online at aestheticdesignandbuild.com. Check out their showroom and let their expert team walk you through all of the different outdoor solutions they offer, from pergolas and retractable screens all the way to their patented underdecking system. Their goal is to provide a custom solution that matches the look and feel of your home. Aesthetic Design and Build, outdoor living spaces expertly designed online at aestheticdesignandbuild.com.
These callers are great. Texters are just doing performance art. Next one said, for the love of everything whole. Thank you, Jackson. As you wrapped up the last segment, we were having a little phone fun on this Thursday here. The morning after TMA, minus Tim. Doug's here, Martin's here, Jackson, the Kurt. We're here till 11 o'clock. TMA, presented by Brown and Crouppen. Now in the approaching the 8 o'clock hour, which is brought to you by Fisher Door and Window. Doug, are you up for a little more phone fun?
Well, sure.
And the text line has just exploded as well. We'll read as many as we can. Of course, that is the Air Comfort Service text line, 399-9646. You can have a name for your text. You can change it this week if you'd like. And then at the end of the show, we do a Design Air email of the day. And there's always a prize pack there. Sometimes it's just a ride home from Doug. He'll come pick you up. We just have like a bonus prize.
Happy to.
But a lot of different ways to communicate with this show and the Callier and Thompson phone lines. Doug cleared them out at about 6:40. They've been on hold since last night. Sorry, we got to go. We got to start over. I believe Mark wanted to chime in about Miles Michaelis, and we were taking your text about what Michaelis's line would look like tonight. Yes, Mark.
Hello.
Hello, Mark. Mark in Quincy, I should be clear.
Yes. So Michaelis, I'm taking the over on 1.5. I'm saying he gives up 3 dingers. Probably 2 solo shots and maybe a grand slam. I feel like
we're getting so specific.
You know, I was the guy that got in trouble with all the texters, so if I'm going to be the last one, we might as well do this again. I was told to go play Frogger, drink bleach, whatever.
Well, it'll be coming. Just hang in there. It's coming again.
We have everyone has people in their family that they don't speak to or have a problem with, but all of a sudden we can't talk about the Cardinals. That's something that makes us mad. We're spending our hard-earned money to go. We have just as much right to voice our displeasure as they do to drink the Kool-Aid. But as far as the attendance thing goes, guys, I'm not blaming COVID. I'm not blaming the economy by any means, because if people want to spend money on something they want, they go spend money on it. People are racking up credit card bills and everything else to do whatever they want. They're not coming to the games because we don't have star power. We don't have a super stud. The days of having a Pujols, Rowland, and Edmonds on the same team are over because the salaries are too high. But you need 1 or 2 guys at least, and we have nothing. I mean, we're talking about bringing Harrison Bader back.
Well,
really?
The fans are talking about that, or are the Cardinals talking about that? That might just be a fan dream.
I think I've heard more fans, but there's also been media talking about it, and they're talking about his numbers being better. I mean, I don't know. Harrison Bader was a great guy, whatever, but he wasn't a great player. He was a good player, not great.
Right. I would agree. I don't think that fixes anything.
We've got Arenado now that's coming to the end of his career. I hate to see some of these guys that were really good ball players not have good pitching put around them to the point where you have a chance to win. I mean, we need the days of pitch to contact are over too. We need swing and miss guys.
Mark, somebody wants to know if you had a cheeseburger for breakfast. I'm just asking what the text line is asking.
What was that?
Did you have a cheeseburger for breakfast?
Well, ask the texter what they expect with changing a manager with this team. I mean, a new manager cannot turn chicken crap into chicken salad. It's not going to happen. I mean, at some point you've got to get better players for that manager, and you've got to let the manager make the decisions. You're giving him this lineup and making. I mean, he's not making any decisions.
Your Honor, the witness is running away from the question.
Okay. Hey, thank you, Mark. Thanks so much for checking in. Right. And you are correct. The text line was not supportive, but that's just sort of how it works here. Your own guy, BK, brought up the Bader thing, which I believe, BK had that as an idea yesterday. And Starvin Marvin pointing out he crushes lefties and plays elite defense. I understand why there's some missing pieces to this Cardinals team. It just doesn't feel like Bader would fix enough of them. Guys, Elliot Davis, this guy.
I think what he said is true about star power. They just don't have
a lot of that.
Yeah, that's very fair.
It's not a terribly exciting team. There's no big personalities. They may have an all-star only because every team has to have somebody. Sonny Gray maybe deserved to be an all-star. If anybody, I get Donovan got in.
The text yesterday that said they didn't take him to the All-Star because they were afraid he wouldn't pitch.
Well,
it's unbelievable how many texts.
They got no balls.
Okay.
I want teams with balls. I want guys with balls.
I guess the biggest problem they faced, I think, in the last 10, 15 years is that they're not developing enough of their own big-time talent.
Correct.
They got kind of lucky with Pujols out of the 13th round. They couldn't have known he was going to be one of the all-time great players in the history of the game when you pick him in the 13th round. Molina was developed, but most of the other stars came here because of good trades. like Wainwright and Edmonds and Rowland and so on. Most of the best players they've had, they did not develop. And until they get back to developing more players, and Pujols and Molina, gee, you're going back 25 years now when these guys, almost, well, for Pujols anyway, it's been that long. It's been a while since they've really developed a star player.
And in that World Series year of 2013, I mentioned this the other day, you did have all the young pitching at the time. Rosenthal, Carlos Martinez. I remember like the national broadcast, like, who are these kids coming out of the bullpen? And then right after that, I think you were counting on Jack Flaherty to become a dominant ace.
Yeah, and after
he had that one
2019
great stretch there where
second
he
half
was
of the
unbelievable.
season, yeah, you thought it was coming.
Right. Too many swings and misses in drafting. There's no doubt about it. Lady Sonia's teacup. Keaton sounds like a SoCo fat. Now, see, that's not
I like
nice.
Keaton a lot.
I enjoyed Keaton. A fresh voice.
Concern himself with content of character, not what he had for breakfast.
Good for you, Dan.
Tell Steven to shut up. Games in the 90s were cavernous. The stadium was empty. I was kind of thinking that era, that Joe Torre era, he was talking about going to games with Tewksbury. And then Mark is a dork. So this particular text just took down everybody.
Which, was it Keaton who was upset about Newbar and Donovan? Like, even those guys aren't getting enough looks. They lead the team in plate appearances.
Yeah, Donovan plays virtually every night.
Newbar and Donovan 1 and 2 when it comes to plate appearances.
Somebody earlier said, Doug, do you go to games? And you do, actually.
Do, yeah.
We'll be sitting there and Doug's like, I went last time. We're like, what? Did you really? You've been to, what do you think you've been to, 3, 4 this year?
Yeah, 4 or 5 probably.
4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. I still like going.
Ducking your TV duties.
Yeah, I have to take a vacation.
Did Savard cover for you again?
Mm-hmm.
The problem is they can barely develop a number 5 starting pitcher because they haven't drafted high-ceiling pitchers in years.
They haven't developed a 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah, but not everyone who's a star in the major leagues was a first-round pick.
Sure.
You got to hit some farther down the draft board as well.
Well, isn't that why you think that they went after a guy like Chaim Bloom, because of his track record, his history with development in terms of the minor leagues?
That's kind of the theory that's been put out there.
And they've said we're going to fix the minor leagues, which begged the question, well, was it not important all along? Now, I get it. You have to recognize there's a problem, but how did that get so far away from you?
Right.
I have actually gone to more games the last couple of years. Season ticket holders putting those great seats on the secondary market for $20-$30 is great. So now there's your marketing
there is people
slogan.
taking opportunity. Mm-hmm. I mean, me and my friends, that's certainly something that we will do.
Remember shirtless green seat guy last year? He was like the rally Hoosier.
He had a green. He had his shirt seat off for $20. That'd be a nice value.
I think he was a former bat boy.
Going back a couple years, I was buying some seats that were, I swear to you, 10 rows off the field for $3 or $4. It cost more in fees than it did for the ticket itself. This was at the end of the year when they were hopelessly out of it. It's just stunning when you had so many years of this being the attraction in St. Louis, a place where everybody wanted to play. Remember hearing Will Clark talk about how crazy the fans were in St. Louis, why he was excited to go here. This was one of the great places to play in all of Major League Baseball.
Well, and they'd get a guy like McGuire, he'd stay. They'd get Scott Rowland, he'd stay. Mm-hmm. Jim Edmonds comes here, he stays. Haim's onboarding seems to be taking forever. That's a fair question.
Matt,
Alex,
did you know in the top of the 4th that Don Mattingly made the statement that it makes him think that the Stan Musial is in that body and running around here?
Sick.
And you?
Well, I don't really know what to say about that one.
It's an all-timer.
Cardinals are drafting number 5, this 5th overall this weekend. Number 7 last year got you J.J. I always say Weatherholt.
Yeah,
I want to say Wentworth. No, Wentworth. like the commercial. Didn't Larry David walk around saying that? J.G. Wentworth?
Yeah,
he couldn't get like jingle out of his head.
I don't remember. It might have been something like that.
Thought so. Why is it surprising? We sucked for 2 years. They did literally nothing in the offseason. A couple of people pointed that out. Going into the year, they did nothing.
Our friend
Michael Hellman.
Michael Hellman. It actually took me a second to think of his name.
Did have the late edition of Phil Maton.
Yeah.
Well, it's not necessarily because they didn't want to do anything. It's because they find themselves in a situation with some veteran players with big contracts who aren't performing to the big contract, and then younger players that haven't established themselves well enough to get you much in return.
Guys, not a matter of missed drafts, but bad trades. They had Zach Gallen, Sandy Alcantara in the system, but traded them for bats. That was the Ozuna, and that's the one where it was the Taveras fallout. They were chasing like a power bat in the outfield.
I know, and that's a fair point, and you can say, like, well, they probably underestimated how great those guys would be, but you needed a bat badly, and Ozuna was an effective bat, a very effective bat for the Cardinals. So, like, I think there is some revisionist history when it comes to situations like that. You know?
Heimblum has no balls. He won't even talk to the media. He's a soft Gen Z loser.
Oh.
Well, to be fair, he's not allowed to talk. He's been told to hold off. I think he'd be willing to talk. I don't think he is allowed to talk, which is also a weird thing when it comes to the messaging this season. Boys have been preaching it for over 2 damn years now. Why is the most successful version of baseball a mockery of baseball? Banana ball is the most successful version of baseball right now. Why? Because I think some people are bored with the game itself.
Yeah.
They're more interested in the gimmicky version.
Yeah.
Well, and that appeals to families and younger folks, and that style would be much more appealing, one would think, to younger fans.
Right, it's something different. I wonder where the Savannah Bananas are going to be in 4 or 5 years if people said, well, okay, I've seen that now.
Sure.
How many stunts can you do in
I think it's
the outfield?
a very interesting case study on something like that.
Yeah.
You know, because the Globetrotters have, obviously waned in popularity a little bit since their heyday.
They had a long run, though.
But they still go on tour all the time, every year.
They're still doing it?
Oh, yeah. For sure.
Newt is actually healthy in July. That's a big win right there.
Yeah, a guy who's battled injuries his whole career.
Big Tuft. Stop putting callers on the air.
Why?
We like to hear what they say.
This is the voice of the people, man.
Vox Populi.
Cardinals games are empty because Cardinals stink. We need a good Mike Lee call, perhaps. Cardinals have missed on all the outfielders since Taveras. Now, Arozarena has cooled off. He's not a future Hall of Famer, but it was just jarring. That was one of the first signs, like, wow, are we really trading away top talent? And then you started seeing the Gallons and Alcantras, and it does slap you in the face when you're desperate for homegrown talent. And I understand at the time when you trade, it's even like the Edman deal now. I think most people were happy when they got Fetty at the time. Like,
and Pham too, yeah.
We need some pitching.
And when they made that Ozuna trade, they were still doing very well with TV money and with attendance money, and they were in play for some of the top talent in baseball. Maybe not the very best, but the next tier for sure.
COVID made me realize I didn't really miss the Cardinals, and the vibe of the front office is brutal. All of the business, all business to a fault. Jocketty was passionate. TLR was passionate. So I think people are saying it feels a little too corporate, or, hey, come on down. It's a baseball game. We didn't sign anybody, but come on down.
Why would COVID make you think I'm not interested in going to baseball games anymore?
Well, I think you got out of the habit of going
getting out of the habit.
A year.
The game, like, the opening day being in June or July as opposed to April or March. People just didn't miss it, I guess.
I don't know. I think we blame COVID for a lot of things. Sure. Things are just happening organically, and we always say COVID.
No, I agree. It's slapped as a label on way too many things. But I think some stuff, going to events, you just got in the habit. I bet less people go out to eat. They just kind of got used to a certain way of living. Not everybody, but I think it has some effect. We appreciate great players. Hell, look at how we treated Paul Skenes in his first start here. Bring Skenes back home.
Yeah. People were tearing their rotator cuff. Doffing their cap to.
He left that. Was it 6 inning no-hitter going? Was that what it was?
No, it was like 6 innings, 1 earned run or something. Like it was. I mean, it was a good performance, but it wasn't.
And he left the game to a standing ovation.
Yeah, it wasn't like he threw a perfect game.
Sometimes more is less. Get this hillbilly off the air. That's from David Klein.
Come on.
Of hedonism. And I did try to get the question answered. Did I not, counselor, ask if Mark and Quincy had a cheeseburger for breakfast? I feel like I couldn't get a clear answer.
The witness was running around. He was just avoiding the question. His testimony might be stricken from the record.
Dave with cauliflower ear texted in. Martin, let the callers know they either need to ingest the marbles or spit them out before they start talking.
You can't win. This is why more people don't call.
Ingest the marbles.
But, call in, give your take, This is your platform.
Bobby Bigwell said, I nominate this feller to be the first candidate for Release the Hoosier. Doug, were you listening and thinking, boy, I might have some candidates here?
Yeah, I think it's time.
I think you'd have a line 200 deep of people signing up to be the first release the Hoosier.
Yeah.
At least.
And I want to do it in the second and the eighth inning.
Yeah.
To keep them hanging around till the end.
Right.
You know,
because people stay for the seventh inning stretch. They want to
early
take me out to the ball game.
Staying late.
And then if they're there in the eighth, they might as well stay for the ninth.
Yeah.
And now look at you. You've done it all, Doug.
And if the guy avoids capture by the ushers in the second inning, we'll bring him back for the eighth.
In college, I was a sport management major, and we did a lot of discussion about game day experience and what other teams do. No one ever came up with Release the Hoosier. And you could be a keynote speaker across the country
sure.
at sport management classes.
This year's winner of the Bill Veck Entrepreneurial Award goes to Doug Vaughn.
I'd quit this job and do it nationwide, do it every stadium.
It's a great third act.
Mm-hmm.
And you just kind of sit there in the director's chair. Next, they bring them out and say, who do we have as a candidate? No, a little too fit.
Yeah, right. We need a little hitch in the giddy up would be ideal.
Guys, what is Michaelis's ERA on Thursday night games in July, followed by a loss to the Nationals?
That's like the Twins announcer in Little Big League. I can't come up with a stat
If
like
we could get that, I think it was a joke because it's pretty specific. Miles Michaelis is on the mound tonight. Cardinals trying to get the all-important, what Doug says the most important thing is the series win
isn't.
On the line tonight. Cards losing 8-2 last night. Great baseball discussion. I enjoyed the pulse of the people there. But we have a lot more to get to. We'll clear the deck. What did we do yesterday? We were feeling the deck?
Feeling the deck, yeah.
We were scrubbing the deck.
A lot of good stuff today.
You have to check the Stiefel dossier. Wouldn't it be interesting if you posted that?
No.
On Twitter for people to consume?
No, thanks.
And then they kind of had an idea of where we were headed?
Hard pass.
Hard pass. It is TMA, brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. Bangers or birthdays?
Bangers.
Oh, okay.
Although Arlo Guthrie in the segment prior was a birthday. 78.
Woody's son. Alice's Restaurant.
Son or brother?
Arlo? It'd be Woody Guthrie's son, right?
Okay.
Oh, I'm 99.9.
Yeah, that's right.
Bangers or birthdays, Doug? There's always a theme.
Okay.
Is the Bangers theme just kind of a...
Yes, son. My bad.
Now, the city of New Orleans, was that Arlo?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Alice's Restaurant. You could play that on Thanksgiving. If you worked at an FM station, Doug, you'd play that, and they'll go grab lunch.
Yeah. How long's that song?
Like 20-some-odd minutes. Really? Why don't we play that in, I don't know, about 10:20? That'd be a Rich Gould suggestion.
That's
what you do, pal. You play Arlo Guthrie.
In
Play
July.
that 20-minute song. Well, yeah, but we did yesterday. That's fine. Not everybody heard it yesterday.
People cycle on, and they cycle off.
What was that drop we had from Rich when he was doing the roller derby? You're pretty hot about that, right? Could we get that again?
He sounded like he was playing the role of Joe Sportscaster, reading the script for the roller derby. Friend of the show, Uncle Rich.
You have to give me one moment.
Okay, I didn't mean to do that to you.
Now I need to look up how long Alice's Restaurant is. I could probably walk over to Casey and just ask them. That would be his son, Arlo Guthrie. Bangers or birthdays, that's part of the programming here on TMA, the morning after, brought to you by Brian and Crouppen. Busy day on the text line, a lot of Cardinal thoughts. 399-9646, a lot of Miles Michaelis predictions. We had a suggestion, Doug, that he would shove 7 innings and 1 run. Somebody's trying to win a prize by going out there. Doug said 6 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah, I think he's going to.
You're just kind of in that due theory, like he's due to pitch decent.
Yeah.
You were hot, weren't you?
Darn right I was.
Sounds like a cartoon.
You were hot, weren't you?
Darn right I was.
That voice sounds like a voice actor.
It sounds like a Charlie Brown.
Was. Let's have a little drop fest, Jackie. People were upset that we did go to the phone. I love taking calls. Doug.
Yeah,
I
me
really
too.
do.
Yeah.
Franco Pena would just come on to, well, here's the deal. Here's the deal. We don't have much going on, and it's cold out, so we'll take lots of calls. And then I heard him about 6 months later. He said, well, here's the deal. There's nothing going on, and it's hot out, so we're going to take a lot of calls.
How are the sports? Are they great?
Do you take pot?
Well, thank you. Appreciate it.
Who's the thank you? Who is that?
It is Nina Hartley.
Friend of the show? By the way, the Alice's Restaurant song is actually called Alice's Restaurant Massacre. Length, 18 minutes, 34 seconds. So instead of email today, Doug, we might just play Alice's Restaurant Massacre.
How did that ever get played on radio stations that are taking breaks every 7 or 8 minutes?
Well, maybe they didn't have Sports Center updates.
They want songs to be 3 minutes, right? 3.5, something like that.
Yeah. I always hated it.
Well, I have never seen this side of you, Doug.
Well, I've never been this disappointed.
Is
in
it
the length of the
Jasmine?
song.
Yeah.
What's the context?
I think
there?
it might have been after the first Doug Unplugged, or one of the first.
Could have been.
Yeah. And those are probably always fun when they would pitch back to you after they were playing. You're standing at the desk. You're like, "Yeah, I was hot about you were hot about that." Darn right I was.
You're darn right I was. So we have a comedian who was with Kirk Herbstreit, right?
Yeah, John Crist.
Okay.
You know, Chairman, do you know much about John Crist at all?
I do not.
He had 2 million followers on Instagram, and I was surprised. I'd never really heard of him. No offense to anybody. But he did a podcast with Kirk Herbstreit.
And he was talking about making fun of Cardinal fans as a comedian. And it sounded like that. Okay.
There are certain cities in St. Louis, you do not make fun of the Cardinals.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? They are.
That's a
so you can
religion.
make fun of the Cleveland Browns, or you can make fun of a lot of their. It's like kind of the laughing stock, the Kansas City Royals,
the Reds.
Yeah, but you cannot. There's a certain Philly.
What happens
all
if you
the
make
team,
fun of the Cardinals in St. Louis?
Yeah, you learn the hard way. That they go. That's not.
They
go.
boo you?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Maybe worse.
So did John Crist have a St. Louis performance that anyone attended? And he made I would think now that's no longer true.
Right.
Just look at the text line, Doug. Making fun of the Cardinals is now our currency.
Yeah. What's at the top of your mind easy team to take a shot at?
Well, he said the Cleveland Browns. That's an obvious.
Bears.
Yeah, the Bears. I mean,
what do they call them, a charter franchise?
I think with the Cardinals, it's okay if we make fun of the Cardinals as longtime fans or St. Louisans, you can do it, but you don't want some outsider doing it.
I think you could say that for a lot of St. Louis.
Probably so.
Like if you're a St. Louisan, you can poke fun, have a little fun with some of the stuff in St. Louis. But if you're an outsider making fun of St. Louis, probably not going to play. Remember Chris Bryant when he called St. Louis a boring city.
Right.
We didn't disagree. We just didn't think he was the one to say
right,
it.
Yeah,
Only
right.
we can say it's boring.
Right. It's the proverbial, like, you know, if you're, I don't even know what I'm trying to say.
Boy, there's a career that fell apart, though. Chris Bryant.
He went to the Rockies after the...
He was because they were looking to save money at third base. They traded Nolan Arenado and sent a big bag of money with him, and then they turned around and signed Chris Bryant for a big pile of money.
But he was just going to be a superstar. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, he was was he one of the first Super 2s, or the reason they created the Super 2 rule with arbitration?
Yeah. There was always that conversation around it, but I know that the Cubs and most of the people in baseball thought he was going to just be a dominant star for years.
You know what the name of his high school is? Bonanza High School.
Oh, I like that.
Bonanza. Home of, want to take a guess?
Cartwrights.
It's in Las Vegas Valley. The Bonanza Bengals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And he's kind of been hurt. It feels like he's been hurt for 5 years.
Yeah.
Painter Guy says John Chris is a funny dude, more of a faith-based comedian.
Okay. All right. Very fair. I not recognized the name when I saw it. I saw Herbstreit was talking to him, and I saw 2 million followers. I'm just really surprised. I have no idea who this is, but that's not a shot, you know.
He comes to Stiefel every year from the 636.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, I bet in some cities it's totally cool to like if you're in Cleveland, make fun of the Brown. People are going to laugh.
I think the Browns across the country. What do you? It used to be the Detroit Lions. We kind of fall into that camp. Can't do that anymore.
Jets.
Jets. Somebody suggested that as well. Like just historically bad. Or
Knicks up until last year. You could always be like.
I think the Bills are like in terms of heartbreak.
Yeah.
That's a go-to.
Yeah.
If you're not a Cards fan, keep your mouth shut.
Huh.
That's from Lisa, who called in and dropped an S-bomb on us. Mm-hmm. Molina had something to say when Bryant slammed St. Louis. Yeah, the Yachty meter was always pegged at like he's got our back. Mm-hmm. Even though he was seen wearing Cubs gear, which we clarified with Adam Wainwright yesterday. Let's see.
Well, we'll get our mojo back.
John Chris is one of those unfunny Christian comedians. That's from the 817. Doug, where's the 817?
I just don't know.
I'm going to take some guesses.
Oh, can we have a clue?
I think 818 is L.A., but they never quite align, do they?
No, certainly not. Can you give us a region, Chairman?
817. East or west?
Oh, it's a tweener.
North or south?
South. I would say that in the past 15 years or so, St. Louis, sports-wise, has some history with this area code.
Fayetteville?
Dallas?
No. Dallas-Fort Worth.
Nice.
Oh, really?
Okay.
There's probably 8 area codes down there. It's such a big area.
Yeah, huge.
Yeah. And projected to be the biggest city in America in another 15 or 20 years.
Is that right? Dallas?
Well, last time I was in Dallas, that was one of the stories in the paper there, that they thought it might overtake New York in 20 years for population.
Nice town.
Spread out.
Spread out, sprawling.
No, the Dallas Cowboys are probably about an hour's drive from downtown with traffic. Sounds like you fellas need a little more God in your lives. That's from Bub, B-U-B.
Bub.
In the 314. Godless country out there in the 817. Hillbilly heaven is what it said. That's the 636. So now we've got God and area code wars started.
Okay.
It's always great.
Anybody know how they came up with the numbers for area codes? Like, why are we the 314 and why is Dallas 817? Are those random numbers, or is there some purpose to the number?
Like the history of the area. I would probably watch a show on the history of the area code.
Yeah.
It was introduced in 1947 by AT&T as a part of the North American Numbering Plan to create streamlined long-distance calling and replace the need for human operators to manually connect calls. Boy, I see old video of that. That seems like it would be the worst job of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Unplug, plug it in.
Sandwiches, Lisa. That's all we need out of you. 817's just miserable. John Christ is usually funny. Got his start with social media videos.
So, Doug, with area codes, they gave lower numbers that would have been quicker to put into a rotary telephone. two more highly densely populated areas. For example, New York, 212, high population, and it's like one of the quickest combinations that you could dial on a rotary phone.
Yeah,
3 and 4 are probably pretty quick.
I guess we were densely populated then.
We were, yeah.
Chicago's 312
now. What's that?
Chicago's 312, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes
Where's
sense.
the 313?
Detroit.
Is it?
Yeah, 8 Mile. Everybody in the 313.
Don't
Put your
start
blank
wrapping up in here.
hands up and follow me.
You just threw your
Everybody
hand
in the
the air.
313. Come on now. 8 Mile, baby.
St. Louis Rams used to be a pretty good joke. Yeah, they lost a lot of games, especially that one stretch.
I don't know if they were relevant enough to make fun of
Yeah,
at
they
that
weren't
time.
nationally.
No.
The 15 and 65.
No.
The Linus Spags era didn't resonate.
Basically, the entire time where I was like the world's biggest fan of the Rams, they were just awful.
15 and 65, is that what it was?
For that 5-year stretch.
Yeah.
That's hard to believe.
The average record was 3 and 13 for 5 years.
And I was just such a big fan.
A lot of pregame shows. Were you really? You
Oh my
tried.
God.
You
I tried.
tried. Were you always just sad as crap in the car ride home, defeated?
Yes, all the time. All the time.
Did you guys tailgate? Like on the landing?
No. I mean, remember, like they moved when I was 17 years old, so there wasn't, much of.
I mean, your family. They're not.
No, I
didn't
we
expect
didn't
like 13-year-olds to have a kegger.
We didn't go to a ton of Rams games. We watched every single one of them. We went to some. I remember going to one.
Because tickets were hard to come by.
Well, I wanted to go to a preseason game because it was a Packers. It was a Packers preseason. I wanted to see Aaron Rodgers in person, and I wanted to just go to the Rams game. And I show up maybe 20 minutes before kickoff, and I say, "Oh, can I get a ticket?" And they go, "Yeah, it's like $70." I was like, what do you mean? Like, because I was used to dynamic pricing with the Cardinal games. I was like, you telling me you're not going to sell this ticket when the kickoff happens, just sell it to me for like $10. You're going to make nothing on it anyways. And they're like, nope, $70. That's the rule. And I said, okay.
Jackson, why do you hate John Christ? I don't think you did.
I in fact, said the opposite. I said, I just don't know enough about the person, but I have no ill will towards him at all. I'm sure he's great. I like the audio clip we just played, so big W for him.
A lot of folks are pointing out the Bonanza Bengals. Did you mean the Bengals? Did you call them the Bengals
That's
as
a
in
whole
like the
thing.
band?
Oh, no, did you do that?
Do you have a little thing where you can't, like some people can't say a T, they say a D, Martin
He
instead of
calls
Martin?
them the Cincinnati Bengals.
Bengals?
Yeah, Bengals.
Not the Ben Yells?
I hear
Bengals.
in my ears.
Bing.
I hear myself correctly, like Bengals. Am I saying it wrong?
Say it again?
Bengals.
Bing.
No, that sounds like an A.
Bingles.
Bingles?
Yeah.
No one says Bingles. There's not a soul out there that says Bingles.
Bingo.
No, I think not.
Bengal
I think
tiger.
Doug's messing with you.
Not Bingle.
But can you say Cincinnati Bengals?
Cincinnati Bengals.
You said Bangle. You're saying bang.
I know.
Bang, gotcha.
Bengals.
Like an A.
Like an
It's
E.
an E.
I'm saying it with an E.
No, you're not.
Chairman.
You're saying bang instead of Bing.
I'm not on your side on this one. The name that's spelled B-E-N.
Ben.
Now add goals.
Bengals.
Bengals.
I can't do it.
Can you
Dude.
say
I'm like
like
a vlog in my brain.
Ben Hockman, Ben Hockman,
Sure.
Ben Fred, Ben Goals.
Ben Goals.
Keep
that
going.
sounds like
Keep
that
going.
sound.
But you put
Bengals.
emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Bengals.
Yeah, I think you did it.
All right,
Nice
Bengals.
going.
I've heard. When I watch
Like a
NFL
phonics
stuff, I
class.
hear the pros say Bengals. I hear it in my ears. Also, I say L with both, which I've just realized. I say both instead of both. I say both, and I've just realized that. Someone pointed that out recently to me.
I'll be darned.
That the little things you don't recognize.
I like it when the old timers call the city Cincinnati.
Miami
and St. Louis.
The referee, I think it was a road game. The Rams had a penalty, shocking. And the referee said, hey, we got a hold on St. Louis.
Yeah. That was,
was he a Bowery boy?
That was the replacement era. That was the replacement
Was it?
refs. I'm almost
call him
positive.
St.
It was the
Louis.
which is the replacement refs era needs. Maybe they have done a documentary. They should do a whole documentary about the replacement era. I mean, they had guys who were refereeing 5th grade, Pop Warner games like a week ago, and now they're calling, Packers Seahawks.
How did we not get a St. Gabe's referee to go up there and work a Rams
Fungo.
game?
Fungo doing great.
Yeah, work the Rams game.
Who was the NFL ref? Was it Red Cashin who called that foul where he got on camera and he says, he's getting a penalty for giving him the business down there. It's like, had a guy in a headlock and he's punching the guy in a headlock motion.
Giving them the business is everyone's
penalty.
grandpa. I wouldn't mind that as my text-in name, Jackson. Giving him the business. Sure. We make that happen. You can email this show. The Design Air email of the day comes your way at about 10:52, 10:53, depending on how badly we've managed the clock. But Design Air is also the longest running sponsor of TMA. Design Air for all your heating and cooling needs year-round. Go online, designairservice.com. That's the website where you can set up the appointment. This time of year, the AC is running non-stop. If it's not working properly, and you know what that's like. You just set that temp to about, what's the sweet spot, Doug? 68 is a little too cold for you? I like it 68.
In the summer, we
oh, yeah.
74, 75.
And that Ameren bill is just insane.
Yeah,
I'm like, how'd that happen?
75 is like
Good
usually 75.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, how about a payment plan? Good God.
Yeah, well, if you're keeping your house at 68 in the middle of the summer.
Okay, but if it's not matching up and the house is 74, but you set it at 68, that means something's not triggering properly. That's when you go to Seth Goldcamp and his team at Design Air. Again, online, designairservice.com, longest running TMA sponsor. They bring you the email of the day, and they've been doing this as a company for more than a century now, so you know they're going to be here long term. That's what you get, a company you can trust. And when it's your heating and cooling year-round, you want to make sure you've got a company that's going to be here today and tomorrow. That's exactly what you get with Design Air Service. Online, designairservice.com. Martin, Doug, the Kurt, Jackson's here, and we've got a. It's part of the clearing of the deck, Doug, but Jackson's got a beef. He's going to have something off his chest. We'll get to that. Mm-hmm. We're getting better at teasing. That's on deck. Jackson's got a beef. We'll clear the deck when we come back. It's TMA, brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. I guarantee there's a Schnucks in your neighborhood. When you're stocking up on groceries, you want to save as much money as you can. That's getting harder and harder to do. Schnucks is doing their best to keep prices down. They've lowered more than 2,300 items. We used to roll through those for you, but there's just too many to mention. You'll see them when you go into the store, and it's not a special. It's not a get it this week type deal. They've dropped those prices and kept them there. In addition to that, as you shop, you'll see some digital shelf tags letting you know other value buys that you can get when you're doing your shopping. Get that rewards app. It'll keep track of some of your favorite purchases and let you know if there's any additional deals that can be had. The app will also let you buy for delivery, curbside. Use that app, and while you check out, you're getting your points piled up. That means you're going to get money back to you. It's kind of cool when you just do it after 3-4 trips to the store. Next time around, you say, I'm going to hold on to those points. All of a sudden, you got $30-$40 sitting there that you can cash in. It's the rewards app. It's Schnucks for all your grocery needs, saving you as much money as they can. Those are prices you can count on. Everyday prices at Schnucks.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Yesterday, the Yankees designated two-time batting champion DJ LeMahieu for assignment, DFAing him Wednesday, presumably ending the infielder's 7-year tenure with the organization, despite being owed $22 million through next season. That's per ESPN. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Bangers and birthdays. It's the Morning After Thursday edition here. Tim's back next week. Presented by Brown and Crouppen. Cardinals losing last night. Back at it. It is a night game. Usually they close them out with a day game on the third game, the old getaway day. Jackson's concerned the Nationals might not be locked in tonight because they play in Milwaukee tomorrow, so maybe it'll be a more brisk outing. However, Miles Michaelis will have something to say about that. He's on the mound tonight. And Doug, we did a quick audit. We said in his last 2 starts, he'd given up 14 runs in 10 innings. And you said because of that, he's going to have a quality start tonight.
He's going to look into that Nationals dugout tonight and say, come and get your whooping. And he's going to shut him out for like the first 3 innings and then give up 3 runs over 6 innings. And the Cardinals will win the ball game 7-5. 7-5 is your
Doug's pretty all right. We've taken a lot of
I'm
text.
throwing that in the prediction.
Are you?
Yeah. Well, if he's going to
in the Stiefel dossier, which I suggested we post online, and Jackson gave that a hard pass.
Yeah, I'm good on that.
There is something. I scrolled down. I've never done this before. This morning I went all the way down. It's fun with audio. It's got our live reads. It mentions for some reason that Rich Gould was on Tuesday. I'm on page 5.
That's from my drops of the week.
And then it gets to Predictionary. And we do things with predicted scores. Will Ryan Helsley be a Cardinal? Will they have a 20-homer season? And then there's one that says questions for Chime. So are you just sort of banking these when we do get to Mr. Bloom?
That's right.
The first question on here says, what was going on with the Devers situation? I think you mean Mookie Betts, right? Because
I probably put on. I can't remember.
Okay.
Ever.
Betts is the one they had to trade in his prime.
But I have that later. I said, why trade Mookie Betts and parlay that into Trevor Story?
Right. No, that's the one. I don't know why.
I'm talking about probably the Devers situation when he was signed him.
So when Devers complained and said, I was told.
Was he told? Right.
Okay. So did you promise? Got it. Because I was thinking, I was trying to, you win. Questions for Tom Stillman.
I have that.
It says, do you really hate the navy blue uniforms? That's what it says.
That's right.
The ones they're getting rid of?
No, the ones I talked about whenever they unveiled the new
those
jerseys.
were navy blue.
No, I'm talking about the ones with the arch on it, the center crest, like the circle crest.
I heard he never liked that logo.
Right, that's what,
And then depending who you ask, it's he just didn't like, they had the arch in there. And then some people theorize he didn't like it because it was a Checkets thing. I don't know. But that's deep. That's a deep dive into the dossier. I'm simply in 8-3. Segment 8-3, Feeling the Deck. And it says, I have a brief airing of grievances. And with that, we welcome in Jackson Burkett.
Yeah. So I'm asking this because I want to know what people would do in this situation, how some folks handle it. So I was seeing a film last night, movie film, Doug.
A talkie?
A talkie. I won't say the name of the theater or what I was in. Regardless. I guess I was seeing 28 Years Later, the new Danny Boyle zombie movie, the third in the series. And the people 3 seats down from me had a conversation going the entire movie.
Loudly?
That's the thing, is it was just loud enough for me to be able to hear that they were talking. I couldn't hear what they were saying, but I could hear hear them talking. This is a movie that's not stocked with dialogue. So when they're talking, it's pretty audible. And I don't know how to handle that situation. My friend, who I saw the picture with, did a hefty throat clear. One of those.
Passive aggressive, yet often effective.
Exactly. That proved ineffective. And so you don't want to just belt out, hey, quit talking, because now you're being louder than the people in the theater.
Then you might be creating a scene which affects everyone.
Then you might have an issue, and you end up on Twitter or someone taking a video of you. You're like acting like someone called Karen. You don't want to. I don't personally want to go get the employees, because a former movie theater employee, the worst thing ever is when someone said something like that, because now you have to go in there and awkwardly tell someone, hey, quit talking, especially like in a packed theater. This was not that. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to like go over there and talk to them and say, like, I don't know how to handle that situation. And also have some respect for other people. Like, let's be real here. If you're paying that kind of money to go see a movie, don't have a conversation to the entire movie.
Right.
Takes people out.
So your question is, what do you do?
What do you do? Like, how do you handle?
In this era where people are increasingly hostile,
right? And that's the thing. It's key. The key factor is they weren't talking so loud that I think the entire theater was hearing it, but us in the same row were definitely hearing it, and it was pretty annoying. And I don't know how folks would handle that.
And the throat clear didn't work.
Throat clear did not work.
Can you throw your voice kind of like a ventriloquist and say, quiet over there. That's enough over there. We're here to see the movie. Try that.
I guess if you have a pair of testicles, you'd say,
here we go.
Could you please be quiet?
Yeah, I mean, but again, like, I don't want to make a scene. I don't want to raise my voice higher than they're talking, because now I'm...
But I bet if you did it once, the other people in the theater would be appreciative that you did that.
Sure.
And did they look like someone who might turn around and pull a gun on you? Or?
No, nothing like that. No.
I mean, it is kind of a weenie move to go to the usher.
I
think the people would take that better from the usher than from some hill jack to their left. Yes.
Right. I think there's a way of going about it. Like, if I was going to do something, there were seats open next to us. I could like move down 2 seats quickly and just be like, hey, it's all okay, but like, we can hear you talking. Like, can you please not?
Yeah.
And then that would be like, if it was really, really, really starting to become super annoying, it was just to the point where it wasn't annoying enough, where I felt I needed to speak, but annoying enough where I was like, all right, this is a little frustrating.
Did it affect your overall experience?
At some points, yeah. And it's a pretty emotional movie. Chairman Kurt's seen it. He can speak to that. And there are like some emotional scenes, and you can like hear them like kind of giggling and talking. And it's like, oh man, like, come on.
Maybe if you just said it, but not directly to them, please be quiet.
Right.
Like you were saying it to the whole theater, maybe that would get the message across.
Yeah. We're all trying to enjoy the show here.
Right. It's just, it's just decorum, man. Like, I think respect for other people is so important.
Manners are dead.
Yeah, it's like,
unfortunately, customer service dead, manners dead. 2025, write it down.
Being on your phone's almost like better, because at least like I can like move my vision. Like when I'm here, then like you focus on it. It's just tough.
Martin, I'm going to avoid passing you a note, but the SEC umpire is on hold, and he says he can fix this for you in 10 seconds, Jackson.
All right, so we have an actual baseball umpire who's going to officiate what took place in the theater.
Yeah, we'll take a break, and we'll get to we should get to him on the.
You run a tight ship. People are saying they want to see the dossier, but they feel like it's fake news. It doesn't exist, and that's why Jackson.
It's brought to us by Stiefel, and it absolutely exists. Absolutely.
The SEC umpire is on deck. A lot of people did not enjoy our Hooked on Phonics segment, where Jackson learned how to say the word Bengals, and they were a little outraged at the content. I should point out it was not in the dossier. We went off script.
Yeah, we were riffing.
It's our fault. It is. TMA will break, come back with the SEC umpire on how to officiate theater drama. That's next on TMA. Bangers and birthdays and random old Cardinal songs that used to get us fired up when the team would go to the NLCS every year. That's sort of the theme, I believe. The Morning After brought to you by Brown and Crouppen. Welcome back. 8 o'clock hour brought to you by Fisher Door and Window. Jackson Burkett unleashing on the audience his airing of a grievance, people talking at the movie theater. A lot of suggestions, a lot of people mad at Jackson for not manning up. One texter just said, you walk over quietly yet firmly, kick him in the face, and then piss on him. There you go. So that could have ended things right there. But the SEC umpire also has thoughts. He's an official umpire in the Southeastern Conference. Baseball ump is with us now. Yes, welcome, ump.
Hey guys,
what do you got, Blue?
Thank you guys for having me again. And Jackson, listen, man, I agree with the last texter's first part. You got to be nonchalant. You don't cause any scene or situation. You get up quietly, promptly, with assertiveness, right? As an umpire would, right? And you just go, you sit either right behind them and you just peek in one of their ears. You say, hey, listen, guys, we pay money for this. Like, you guys, if y'all want to talk, that's cool. But if you don't mind moving down to a different section, we're just trying to watch a movie. Appreciate it. And then ease your way back. No scene, no commotion. That's it.
Yeah, you're right on.
Do you think they would? You just don't know if they're going to take that.
No, but I think but that's, if you're handling it like that, how someone could get that upset about that would be crazy to me.
I think so too, because it shows respect. You're not causing a scene.
Right. You're not going to get management.
You're handling your business at the same time, not only for you,
right,
but for everyone else that's around you. And you just took the initiative instead of waiting. Well, who's going to say something? Otherwise, it's like a coach. If you let them in the dugout, hey, that's not down. Hey, that's in and out. You let them do that stuff all game. They're going to do it all game. Right. So if you let these people talk during the entire movie, they're going to think it's their prerogative to just talk the entire time. So lastly, dude, what's your hat size? I got a gift for you for your anniversary. I just need your hat size.
Hat size?
For all of us?
Sure. Yeah. I can do it for all of you guys. All 4 of you.
So our show anniversary would be in October.
Yep.
7/1/8.
I don't know my hat size. Let's
I don't know. I got a big old look at
give it to Captain Kirk and have him text me. And I'll send you guys a nice little gift come October.
All right, very kind. Very kind.
What is the hat going to say? SEC umpire?
No, but it will be a hat that you will not be able to get anywhere else.
Wow.
Only I will be able to get it for you. And it's just a nice little gesture for you guys allowing me to be on and be a part of your show occasionally. And you guys do a great job. And like I said, tell Timmy we said what's up. Y'all have a great day, boys.
Okay, thank you.
Well, he wrapped fabulous little call.
And he wrapped himself up nice and tight.
Yeah.
Before he could get bleached, he was he probably got bleached.
He hit the hole, offered up a lovely gift.
But a mystery gift.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Hat, I didn't know we'd ever talked to. He acted like we've talked about this before, that he wants to give us a hat. Maybe it'll be like a Rob Lowe. He would just have an NFL hat. It's just going to say SEC. Be a man. You walk up to him and dump a soda on their head, take a handful of popcorn, and tell them to shut the F up. That's what you could have done, Jackson.
Yeah, there's also that. Yeah, and there's also, these people were guilty of it, and people in front of me bringing their own blankets to the theater.
I've seen that. Why? What do you care? Now hold on.
I don't care. I just
now you're the problem, Karen.
Why would you care about someone's blanket?
I don't know why.
You care about their coat?
No. Logically, I think I'm in the wrong 100%. It's just something about it rubs me the wrong. It's like bringing a pillow, not like a neck pillow, but like an actual pillow on an airplane.
I was going to say, I feel like I've heard you talk about being anti bringing your own pillow places.
Yeah, I think stuff like that should stay at home.
Cooties?
I don't know.
Well, the blanket is sometimes it's like 40 degrees in the theater.
I know. Well, bring a wrap or a shawl.
A wrap or a shawl.
Don't say shawl.
Something about bringing a blanket from home.
I've never seen someone with a shawl.
Yes, absolutely.
Like a mother when you rub her feet. Yes. She's wearing a shawl.
I've seen countless movies with my mother, a former film critic, and
she would always bring a blanket.
No, but she brought a shawl.
I might bring a blanket in here tomorrow.
Yeah,
you're in public.
If anybody's got a shawl, could you drop it off? We're over here on Olive.
Now, before it comes, I dress like an 8th grader. I get that. I come to work every day. I'm far from the authority on such things, but I just think some about bringing a blanket in public and getting a little too comfortable is a little much. I don't know. But the talking is the bigger issue. That was
Several people did ask, could you have just moved seats? Was that
I had a prime seat, second from the back row, dead center. I wasn't moving. You get those reserved seats anyways, and the last thing you want as someone who had to deal with people who would sit in the wrong seats in the movie theater is that's a huge pain in the ass.
There's a guy named Dan who's big, Andy's blonde, said you gotta just sternly say, seriously? And then you kind of let it sit. Had to do that with a group of youngs laughing and posting on Snapchat through a whole movie. That said, helps to be big and blonde.
Yeah.
From Dan.
And it's like one thing
Next time, bring Dan with you.
It's like one thing with kids, like you might not, but these were full-grown adults. And it's like, you gotta know better.
And there is the issue, there's an awful lot of crazy out there.
Right.
People are afraid to confront people anymore because who knows what kind of ridiculous reaction you're going to get anymore.
Somebody mentioned at Alamo, which is the draft house. They said if you tell the server like hands them a note.
They'll boot you. Yeah.
Will they?
They have a no tolerance stuff. I mean, that's how they average. Like that's what they talk about is like, no phones, no talking, and there's like no kind of leeway on that. I've been on the opposite end of my situation, my airing of grievance, with a power shusher next to me.
Oh yeah, you got shushed?
No, but the people next to me got shushed during a movie, full house for a theater, and this woman sits down in the theater, like right as the movie's about to start, and she wasn't in her seat 2 minutes. The movie starts, the studio stuff plays, and someone's talking, and hard shush to the left, and then another one like 10 minutes into the movie. I was sitting there on pins and needles the whole time.
Where they hold that index finger a little longer on their lip just to let you know
it was a full lean
too.
Over the person next to them to reach out the shush. I was like, ooh, see, I never want to be that person. That's why I think I might have been a little gunshot.
All right, now I'm going to reverse it. If you get shushed that hard, do you then throw a soda on them? Is that the proper
You're
reaction?
more likely than if someone where they come up calling, like the SEC ref said. The SEC ref had the most rational, correct take, because you just kind of go up to them with respect, and then if it continues, then you might go take a step with management or something.
Yeah, but he's also wearing a chest protector, so it's a little more intimidating, I think.
Right.
Movie theater etiquette has never been worse. Every movie I go see, people are talking or on their phones.
I think it might have something to do with the big chairs. You're just so comfortable.
They're great chairs.
They're great.
They're the greatest chairs in the world.
How do you stay awake, though?
It's great. I love it. I'm a huge fan of it. But I think there is some to that comfortability of it where it's like when you sat in the old school theater seats, you're like, okay, I'm here to see a movie. But now that you're like in a recliner, like a lazy boy, it's like, oh, I'm at home. I'm chilling. It's like, no.
What do you think of the people, and it's usually a lady in her prime Karen years, who laugh a little too loud and long at jokes that really aren't very funny?
Yeah, it's one thing in like a full house where you can get like a big laugh and you might not stand out, but in a sparsely attended weekday show or even a matinee, it can be a little a hearty laugher.
What are they talking? The people that were talking, were they like discussing the film, or like, hey, do you think we should have the long guy tomorrow work on the back? Or like, what could be so important other than the film in front of you?
That's what I'm saying. It's
so
like,
are you okay if they'd scream, look out?
But that too, they were doing that too. They were like, oh my God, who's this guy? I'm like, watch the movie.
What'd you think of the movie?
Loved it.
I thought it was good.
Oh, it was outstanding.
This guy?
Yeah, like it was like a zombie show. They're like, who's this? Like yelled it out. I was like, shut up. Wait.
There it is. You did it. Shut up.
No,
you see,
in
you
my
can
head.
do it.
I'm
Be a man. Pull out your cojones, Jackie P, and say something to these talkers.
No, I know.
Too much of a wuss. Say something. You deserve to endure the frustration that's from your mom's lesbian lover.
It's just, like I said, it was like right on the line of should I say something, should I not? My friend really wanted to say something.
But this wasn't a first date situation where they perhaps felt like they had to keep talking to each other.
No. But that would be even more frustrating.
Jackson, please change my name to Karen's prime years.
Doug is right. Prime year Karen.
Carlos Spicy Winter says, took my kid and her friend to see Jurassic World last night. A 40-plus-year-old hefty female, loudly flatulent multiple times, found it funny. They clearly had a lot of Jeffco in them. Oh, that's not fair.
No,
that's
not right.
Kurt, I'm sorry.
I'm saying prime Karen years are 45 to 65.
Yeah.
You got 20 good, solid years of complaining and asking to see the manager.
Yeah, but there are I'd say that there's Karens, both male and female. I don't know what the male version of
Doug
Karen
got slapped with safety-ass Karen last week. A week ago.
I think it trends younger
Fireworks
now.
sake.
I think you can get, as soon as you turn 30, I think you can get right into that.
Oh, that's young.
Yeah, I think you can.
A lot of them need a little more seasoning.
Jackson, here's a guessing game for you. Wrong. You're definitely a wuss of all wusses. Who do you think that's from?
Eric in the Central West End.
That is from Eric in the Central West End.
Oh, I have a feeling. I'm not like, I don't know if I'm being a wuss. I just didn't say anything.
Choke artist 1.6. Bringing a blanket is disrespectful. This is not your house.
Disrespectful. It just seems odd to me. It feels weird. But
how about bringing your own food?
I'm trying to keep theaters healthy. I'm trying to keep them alive. I think seeing a movie in the movie theater is by far the best way to see something. And they make almost all of their money exclusively at concessions.
But the prices are pretty stupid.
Yeah, but I like seeing movies in a movie theater and want to continue to do so. So I cannot, in good conscience, say bringing your own food is a cool thing.
Do they care? Do they ever?
Absolutely, that's money.
I know they care, but do they ever tell somebody no? You can't bring that in.
That was like when I worked in the movie theater. Yeah, absolutely, had to say it. Again, like that. That's like studios take almost all of the box office.
Right. But a lot of people smuggle in food.
Sure.
The jujubes and milk duds.
Right. There was some time, if you don't see it, I couldn't do anything. There was one time, though, a family brought, a whole meal from Applebee's or something.
Oh, gosh.
And I was like, what are you, do you really think that this was going to work? I was like, no, you can't bring that in. They're like, we're not going to go see the movie. I was like, yeah, you aren't. You're not with that in your hand.
Guys, what are your chest sizes? I've got some blouses I'm going to send you with my company name on them. That's from Painter Guy.
I need some extra room in the bust.
Clip that off. Bringing anything from home is disrespectful. This is not your house. That's the choke artist 1.6 is adamant about this.
I think there's a lot of people, though, that might bring a little bag of popcorn with them or chips or candy of some kind.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong.
Ballpark prices at the movies. Awful. From Jake.
You're not going to hear me denying that the prices are crazy. It's absolutely the case. But I say it again, that's how they make money. That's how they keep the lights on, is concessions. Studios, especially like Disney, they take almost the entire.
But is that the consumer's responsibility to fix that?
No, certainly not. But that's if you love seeing movies in a movie theater, I think knowing how they make the money is an important thing, too. If you like seeing it. If you don't care, do whatever you want.
If it's cold, wear long pants and a jacket. Blankets are disgusting at the movie theaters. You never know what you'll bring home. But that would be more their issue as opposed to it bothering you, the non-blanketed person.
It's just, I don't know, something about it. It feels like now I'm invading someone's living room when they have a blanket next to me.
You guys are babies. Sitting freezing in the theater because it's more respectful. Bunch of launch pads.
Well, it's not a meat locker. I mean, it's cool. It's got air conditioning, but I've never been in a theater where I needed a parka.
Marcus Theater has $6 ticket Tuesdays with free popcorn.
AMC does
Who's Your Daddy?
half price Tuesdays and Wednesdays.
I went to a movie once where they stopped the movie. In fact, it was Oppenheimer.
Really?
They stopped the movie about 30 minutes in and said, our air conditioner's out. We're going to close the theater now.
Oh, man.
So they just threw us out.
Yeah, that stinks. That sucks.
Doug said, could we just undress and cool off?
It wasn't really even that uncomfortable. I didn't even notice it.
Can I stay? Because I'm not uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I just wondered if there was something else really going on there, and that's the excuse that they used.
Yes, it could be.
If maybe there were so few people in the theater and they had 10 people working and said, it's not adding up here. We're losing money by staying open. Go home. We're going to stop the movie right in the middle of it?
I don't think that would be it. But who knows? That's a tough scene.
That was a first for me.
Yeah, for sure. I've had that happen, though. It was a fire alarm situation. We had to get out, but we got right back in, and it was fine.
I have an Inspector Gadget trench coat to bring in a full meal and drinks. Sir, why are you wearing a trench coat? It's 95 degrees out at night.
You didn't encounter that, did you? People wearing trench coats into the theater?
No. I've told the story before, though, where there was a kid's birthday party at one of the theaters, and a balloon got stuck to the ceiling, and it had migrated right in front of the projector before of 7 o'clock, huge showing something. It was going to be a packed house, and it was right in front of the projector, so essentially the whole screen was taken up by the shadow of this balloon, and I had to get this giant pool skimmer because the ceilings are ridiculously tall. And I got this pool skimmer and I got it down. The place went nuts.
You were the hero.
I felt like an old slugger doffing my cap to the fans.
What were they doing with a pool skimmer?
They have it for the sole reason of if something gets stuck on the ceiling.
Really?
Yeah, Because if you don't have it, how else are you going to
to shoot it down?
They have a BB gun.
Can you imagine the crowd's horror if somebody had come in with a handgun and started shooting the balloon?
The movie theater air conditioning issue is about the equipment. It's not about the patrons. That equipment runs hot, so they're saying they need to keep it ice cold.
Yeah, for sure. Where the projectors are, you have to have, because he's spot on with that. Those things are huge.
Why are they still using, or are they still using old-fashioned projectors?
No.
Isn't it just on a...
It's digital.
Yeah, so they're just hitting a computer, right, to turn it on?
It's automated, but yeah.
So
but
what would be so hot about that?
They're huge projectors. They're giant, like especially for like IMAX shows. IMAX projectors are massive, and sometimes they still do show them on film. They still have film projectors sometimes.
Really?
It's rare, but like Oppenheimer was shot on 70 millimeter, so they wanted it. That's how it was preferred to see. Like I saw when I first saw it, I saw it on 70 millimeter. It was really cool.
I was watching F1 last Sunday. At the climax of the movie, literally the last lap of the last race, the power went out. It was comical.
Damn, that would stink.
Ouch. I remember the days when the film would break. You go to the theater and the film would break.
Yeah, snap.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 90s, my dad would open carry a full bag of Mickey D's cheeseburgers right into the theater, and nobody said a word.
Yeah, I mean,
who enforces that?
Would that be bad for him to bring in like a Crave case of White Castles?
Yeah, for a multitude of reasons.
So the whole theater can smell it?
Well, that's true.
You can smell it.
Would you say something about that?
Yeah,
Somebody
absolutely.
had a Crave case next to you.
Well,
that'd be a real treat, though. Yeah, White Castles at a theater. A real treat. I wonder what Karen would think about that.
In her prime years. What psycho brought a balloon to a movie?
Well, it was a kid's birthday earlier in the day, and they had balloons, and they brought it in. It's not crazy. Okay. It's not like just someone just brought a balloon to, going to see Star Wars or something. It was a birthday party.
Okay.
Would a Snuggie be allowed?
No. I mean, it's allowed. I guess everything's allowed. I just think it's just a tad odd.
How about people in their pajamas? Did you ever see that?
But like some could say that I dress.
Doug, did you ever go watch Barbie last couple summers ago?
I didn't see it.
I kind of dress in pajamas every day, so I'm my house is made of glass in this situation.
Would rather pay 4 times what candy should cost? Tell us you have too much money without telling us. That's from Skidman.
Right, but I mean, we all understand that sometimes things are upsold, like marked up. That's just kind of, we understand that. We know when you buy a beer, that one beer at the gas station costs a lot different than one beer at a restaurant.
Seriously, what in the hell are we talking about? That's from The Big Show.
I aired a grievance, okay?
You did air a grievance. Can you bring a 12er?
No, most theaters have bars.
How big your Inspector Gadget trench coat is.
Yeah.
Chairman Kurt has scribbled another note and passed it to me. We will get to the call from Wisconsin. It's either Keith or Greg. It's so confusing. They either root for the Illini or the Packers. We try and keep track of all the listeners. Phone lines have now blown up as if we opened them for folks to vent about the Cardinals. Instead, it's movie theater etiquette. That's what happens when Palante gets beat up and the Cards lose 8-2. This is the Morning After, brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. And back at it. Loaded up again on the phone lines. It was so much fun on this phone-in fun Thursday, Doug, and people seem to love it, that we thought we'd get back to it, do it some more.
We like to hear from the listeners. There's other ways. They can text and email and YouTube chat and do all that, but it's nice to hear their voices.
Okay.
It seems like it's just a little bit more personal.
Jackson, did I miss the return music, or did we come back dry?
No, you missed
miss
it. It was down in the corner, CCR.
Okay.
Banger.
The theme for the music, I feel like the whole week has been bangers. It is the Morning After. It's presented by Brown and Croup, and we're in that 9 o'clock hour, which is brought to you by Mark Hanna, Evergreen Wealth Strategies. You can always text into the show. A number of folks do that every single second. 399-9646. 314-399-9646, Air Comfort Service text line. And then the phone line, Doug brings you those. Callier and Thompson, 974-0101. And right now we have either Keith or Greg from Wisconsin.
Hello.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Hi there.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Yes, hi.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. We're good. We're wearing blankets.
Okay. So the reason why I said Keith/Greg Green Bay, I called in a couple of weeks ago and I had the idea about the Greyhounds at Busch Stadium in between innings. And again, my name is Keith, and I said /Green Bay. And then one of the, I don't know if it was Martin or Tim that said, hey, Greg. And then I paused and I said, no, my name is Keith.
And now texters are saying, no, my name is Keith. Yeah, that was me. I got confused because we have a couple of Wisconsin people that call in, and you are Keith.
Yeah. So we're going to, instead of going Keith from the /Greg from Green Bay, I'm going to just say Keith from South Milwaukee. But how ironic, my brother's name is Greg. Pretty crazy.
Wow. Now, you say South Milwaukee. Are you over there by National, like 27th and National, maybe?
Well, that's still Milwaukee, but South Milwaukee is actually a suburb. You go Cudahy, then South Milwaukee, Oak Creek.
Okay, yeah. Cudahy Towers, right there on the lake.
Oh, yeah. You're right there on College and Lakeshore Drive.
All right, Doug, do you want some more Milwaukee geography?
He's getting a lot out of the word Milwaukee. He says like Milwaukee instead of Milwaukee.
Well, they had that giant bridge that would take you from downtown Milwaukee to south, but it really didn't go anywhere. And when they were building it, the Blues Brothers used it for the movie. Remember when they had that bridge and they came to a screeching stop? Yeah. That's because they were building it in Milwaukee at the time, and they used it for the movie. There you go, Doug. You were wondering.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yes, Keith from South Milwaukee.
I like that. So there was I don't know if the theater's still open. It's called the Avalon. That's down on KK in Bayview, which is just on the south side of Milwaukee. We went to a Rocky Horror. Somebody threw a basketball at the screen, and it knocked the whole screen down, and we were never able to see the movie. So.
Wow. Why would someone have a basketball with them?
I don't know. It's crazy. But now I have another idea. Instead of, because the Greyhounds are banned in 44 states, how about racing little piglets in between the innings and betting on them?
Where are they going to go? Like race around the warning track?
No. They won't go far. You just have this, like they do it at the Wisconsin State Fair. It's just a little circle thing that you can bring around, or just have a little straightaway, maybe about 10 yards. Boom. Have a little, like a 2x4 so it doesn't go on the infield.
I see. Okay.
So
I guess that would really be sending a message to the ownership that maybe your baseball product is not quite entertaining enough when we're racing pigs between innings.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, they got to do something to get some people in the stands.
Yeah.
Keith, a texter said maybe you should eat a cheese curd soaked in bleach. I don't know if that sounds good or not.
Well, that does not. That's this.
Are you from the St. Louis? Why are you dialed in while in the 414? Are you from here?
I am. No, I'm originally from Milwaukee. My wife is from St. Louis. I moved down here about 7 years ago. And we live here in the Dogtown area. Love it.
You live here.
Love
okay.
everything.
Got it.
Yeah.
What high school did she go to?
I went to South Milwaukee
Not
High.
you, her. She's from St. Louis.
Doug is trying to profile her.
Well, she lived off of Victor and Grand.
Victor and
Grand. Southwest, maybe.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thanks, Greg.
All right, gentlemen.
All right.
I enjoyed that.
Keith from Greg. Greg from Milwaukee.
No, it's Keith. Actually, it's Keith.
All right.
You called him Greg?
Yes, on purpose.
Somebody had an idea. Take a 2x4 and smack him in the head. Now, see, that's not nice.
I got called Greg half my life, too. Still do. Really? Every now and then. That's why I named my youngest son Greg. And I say, you must mean my son.
Right. Make it easier.
Because
I've had 100
like
people in my life come up to me and say, hi, Greg.
Really?
I think some of it was Greg Vaughn was a good baseball player for a while.
Yeah, I liked him.
Doug and Greg, kind of close sounding.
Anybody ever call you Mo?
I never got called Mo. No, never got called Mo.
You kind of look like Mo Vaughn.
But Greg happened all the time.
Big Brewers, power hitter. He's actually a really nice guy.
Yeah.
They played for the Reds for a while. Greg Vaughn, career home, not your son, but Greg Vaughn.
He was a good player, too, for a long time.
How many career home? I'm going to say he's over 300, don't you think? Probably hit 30 or so.
I'll say
a few times.
262.
I always add like a little bit of chew in there, too. Look like just a lunch. 355.
Wow. Yeah, he was
1,072 RBIs.
He hit 50 in 98.
Jeez.
Yeah,
and
that was that era when every team had
didn't
somebody
even get noticed.
Yeah,
because he only
was that around the time that Brady Anderson hit like 84 home runs or something.
Well, there's also a guy named McGuire that hit
McGuire,
70.
Sosa, yeah.
So he was 20 short of Mark McGuire. Yes, the phone lines are so popular with the texters, Doug. I say we go right back to him. Tony.
Okay.
Tony has dropped.
Tony not there.
We've moved on from that, and a lot of folks have chimed in on Jackson's movie topic. The other text quiz of sorts, Miles Michaelis. What do you think tonight? What's your pitching line? Doug says 6 innings, 3 runs. I've already forgotten what I think I said 4 1/3, 4 earned. Because John King will come in and give up a couple of the runners on base. Sorry about the crown, Jackson. That's your guy. I know that. Cards losing last night, but so did the Giants. So did the Padres, game and a half back. Cubs have been struggling with Minnesota. It is really weird. You look at these teams that are red hot. Cleveland was terrible, right? Then they went and beat up on Houston.
Yeah.
Brewers swept the Dodgers. LA's lost 6 in a row. It makes you think, Doug, that it's kind of a marathon, not a sprint.
Dodgers lost 6 in a row. They're still 5 games up on the Giants. And then Yankee fans are getting hostile because they're 2.5 back.
So you had the DJ LeMahieu situation yesterday where he gets DFA'd. They moved Jazz Chisholm over to second. And I was reading on CBS Sports. I had the article up just here a second ago, but they were looking at possible, why are the Yankees doing this? Who could they possibly be targeting? And as you can imagine, Nolan Arenado was mentioned in this article.
You know, one text earlier when we were talking about fan frustration and just, apathy maybe towards the product, even though they've had some exciting wins. They've got some younger players. Team's not young, but they've got some younger players. There've been some great comeback wins. Somebody said they were disappointed in what they were being told was a rebuilding year. They said, but they're not really trying to rebuild because they've got veteran players. They're kind of trying to win. They said they would have preferred a full AAA roster, just get behind the young squad. The problem is it was never possible because of the no trade clauses. You can't say to Arenado, Gray, and Contreras, hey, we're moving on, we're getting younger, we're going to just... But I would also argue if you had moved on from all those guys, who would be playing? Because we keep getting told there's not much in Memphis. There's nobody really ready. Like, they didn't want to call up Michael McGreevy because they didn't have enough pitching depth in Memphis. If you didn't have all these guys who actually would be performing.
Right.
If you have players when you need spots filled, like the McGreevy spot, well, we don't have enough depth behind them. Who would be here? I guess Gorman would play third every day. I'm just saying the whole narrative doesn't fit. Nothing.
Right.
Maybe nothing makes sense.
I read on CBS Sports about the Arenado possibility to the Yankees, given the LeMahieu DFA. The biggest name on the third base market. The Yankees pursued Arenado in the offseason, reportedly offering Marcus Stroman in a 1-for-1 trade, though that did not go anywhere. Cutting LeMahieu only to replace him with Arenado wouldn't make much sense. Arenado, 34, is in decline offensively as well. His defense is slipping, but still very good, and he's owed $40 million through 2027. The Yankees would replace LeMahieu with a player who is a year or two away from being another LeMahieu. Still, Arenado is likely to be available, considering the Cardinals spent all winter trying to trade him, and he would be a considerable upgrade over Peraza, even if he's no longer the player he was in his prime. That's from CBS Sports. Mike Axia?
Sure.
You would think that they're going to upgrade from Oswald Peraza, who's currently hitting 152 with 3 home runs.
Yeah. I've heard some talk about Eugenio Suarez from the Diamondbacks.
All that guy does is hit homers.
Oh, yeah, he's good.
Just hits homers.
But why wouldn't you just play LeMahieu instead of Peraza. LeMahieu's better than Peraza.
DFA'd him.
I know that. I understand. That's why we're talking about it. But he's still a better player than Peraza, I think.
Brian Cashman said Wednesday they will, quote, try to import improvements. Unquote. I like that. And the way feels very Mozeliak coded. The way import improvements.
Now, if the Cardinals signed Garrett Hampson off the trash heap, how are they possibly going to resist DJ LeMahieu?
To be LeMahieu and Hampson, 1-2.
Well, it wasn't that long ago. LeMahieu was one of the best hitters in baseball.
Yeah.
He was never a big power guy, but a couple of batting titles, right?
Yeah. Probably.
Didn't you win a couple?
I could see Arenado being amenable to a trade to the Yankees at this point.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be a playoff team in all likelihood.
Yeah.
And chances are the Cardinals are not. Chances are they're not. If you had to bet on that, you'd probably think they're not going to make it. I could see how that would be an attractive move for him. But the question becomes, who's going to pay that salary?
Right.
Cardinals aren't going to move him if they're going to have to pay a whole bunch of the salary.
Some other names mentioned are Key Brian Hayes, Ramon Urias from the Orioles.
Key Brian's on the Pirates, which, of course, is a feeder program for the rest of Major League Baseball.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Orioles and Pirates would probably be at your top of the list in terms of sellers likely at the deadline. And so guys from there seem more likely in other places, especially given the money they make. But, the Yankees probably have something in mind. I don't think they're making these moves haphazardly. So,
no. I'd like to see the Cardinals get one of those Pirate pitchers that shut them out. How about Mitch Keller?
That'd be great.
But he's mentioned for a lot.
Merrill Kelly's also mentioned a lot from the Padres.
But Mitch Keller's mentioned is going to a lot of different teams. Anybody that needs help, who do the Pirates have? Would that be a fit for us?
Can I interest you in the Pirate?
Let's take a closer look who they have. You mentioned Arenado and maybe being interested in going to New York. Well, he was on an MLB Network podcast.
Now, I want to say I don't know when this was recorded. It came out 3 days ago, but I don't.
It wasn't 3 years ago.
No, but I don't know when it was recorded. So I don't even know if I feel right.
But it only came out 3 days ago? So that's probably somewhat recent.
But I almost don't even feel good playing because, it might be taken out of context. Okay, I want to be clear. I don't know when this was recorded.
But MLB Network is a big-time operation. If they just put it out a couple of days ago, it's not months old.
I don't think so. He's talking about this year in St. Louis. All right. I want to. All right, here we go.
Put your blanket on and zip it.
Yeah, this year's been great. Obviously, these guys are really stepping up. There's some growth. Some of these young players are turning out to be really great players. Donovan probably deserves to be an all-star. Mason Lynn is solidifying himself as one of the better shortstops in the game. Newport has a chance to be great. Herrera is a great player. Helsley's one of the best closers in the game. I mean, there's just a lot of good pieces here, and we're just coming together. And it's been fun. I don't know how else to describe it. We're just playing really good baseball, clean baseball, and I think our defense is really what's kind of carried us. Everyone's just playing elite defense. And, it's a credit to everybody here that, take pride on both sides of the ball because that's what it's about.
Base hit.
The fact that he was talking about Donovan potentially being an all-star tells me it's in recent weeks.
Right.
Probably wasn't right after the Cubs series.
But after the rough stretch they've been on, then people here are like, it's been fun. This is really playing really clean baseball. I don't want it to be taken out of context. I don't know when this was recorded. It came out 3 days ago. I don't know when it was recorded.
But I think it's fine. I think honestly, I love you. I think you were overthinking that.
Okay. All right.
Like if he said, this is the greatest place on earth. I see myself playing my whole career in St. Louis. Like, is this from a couple of years ago?
Right.
That would be different. I do think players like him have genuinely enjoyed this team and this season. I do think they have a pretty good vibe, but I would also like to pull them off to the sides and so I would PULL to pull them off to the side, and then I would also pull POLL.
Like a Gallup pull.
And then say, be honest. When you see Michaelis's pitching or Fetty's pitching in recent weeks, do you feel like this stinks? We're trying to win. What are we doing here? I bet you anything some players would admit that. Now, something Adam Wader I talked about yesterday, and I think it's true. When you're a manager, you do have to kind of work the room a little bit about how you treat veterans. Because if you burn a guy, they would always say that with potential free agents if you treat somebody poorly. So I think they try and give somebody a long leash. I think in this situation, though, Fetty, Michaelis, probably I get it. Skip a start. Right. You didn't DFA me. That's more embarrassing. I'm still on the team. I'll go to the pen. Fake injury. Hey, what do you want? You want a tight calf? You want to call it an impingement? I think they're big enough boys they could deal with that, because I guarantee my main point is players are like, oh, crap. He's pitching tonight. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Yeah, go get him. But deep down, don't you think that's human nature, Doug? Not that they don't like the guy, but they're like, oh, no, this could be a struggle.
Sometimes you wonder if management is watching the same games we're watching.
Right.
It's why they continue to put the same guys out there that don't give their team a very good chance of winning. And usually the answer to that is long-term, big-money contracts, and they can't do much with the guy. And they don't want to admit that, they've made a horrible mistake with the guy and DFA him or something like that. But it is frustrating. I'm sure it's frustrating for the players, too, who want desperately to be in a pennant race and have a chance to get to the postseason and know that about 40% of the time, maybe 60%, they're sending a starting pitcher out there that doesn't have a very good chance to win.
Because Fetty's start on Sunday at Wrigley was number 3 in a row after 2 horrific ones. Michaelis tonight is the 3rd start after 2 really bad ones, unless, he did go 6 innings last Friday. Did that make it okay, you think, what happened at Wrigley?
I mean, better.
So now, I'm kidding. So now you have the 3rd one in a row where you're using hope as a strategy. You just hope that this one goes better. And Doug's theory, where he's probably due to not be horrible, is probably a fair theory. As silly as that sounds, it's probably fair to think he can't be as bad as he was. But I just hate that idea. Like, oh, it's been terrible. Yeah, but what are you going to do? Well, you can always try something else. There's always another option.
But from the big picture, if you're the GM or you're the owner, you just can't shake up the roster every time some veteran has 2 or 3 bad outings in a row. You just can't do it.
But I'm not saying even blow up the roster, but you can tweak a rotation, especially you're coming up on the All-Star break. And you could bring McGreevy back sooner than Saturday. I know it's the 10-day rule, but if somebody's injured, air quotes, he could come back sooner. Matz could probably start a game for you and go 2 or 3 innings. He's not going to stretch out and give you 5 or 6. I understand. Well, you're going to blow up the bullpen. We're up against the All-Star break. It's kind of like the Sonny Gray argument, where the White Sox rainout caused him to miss a start and pushed him back. He pitched on 9 days rest. And then the next time around, his normal turn would have been against the Cubs, but they were in the middle of a 6-man rotation. He just had a 9-day break. I think he can go on his normal turn, and then he would pitch against the Cubs twice. Adam Wainwright yesterday, I kind of wanted to see him pitch against the Cubs as well.
Yeah.
I guarantee that was his polite version of what in the hell? What's actually going on here? The cat, Jim Hayes, on the broadcast last night, was explaining he had talked to Sonny Gray about his Tuesday outing because he went 5 innings, and it was a really detailed answer about how he didn't think it was going to be a long rain delay, so he kind of got himself ready. Then it was a longer rain delay. That he said then there was some theory that the game might get called off. So again, that regiment, that routine kind of wiped him out, I guess, to the point where he said 5 innings, 70-ish pitches, I'm done.
And I guess when he says getting himself ready, that means he was throwing.
I guess.
He wasn't just riding a bike somewhere or
Right.
stretching. He was out there throwing 20, 30 pitches or who knows how many.
Right.
Because I'm sure watching the game, you're thinking, why take him out? Geez, Ollie, what do you... And the guy was ready to come out.
Ran out of gas, as he said.
Right. Ran out of gas. And you're thinking, how? Well, it was very detailed. It's because of the rain out, and he thought maybe it was going to get canceled. It was all related. And you're thinking, what's this guy doing? Bench pressing Buicks down there in the dugout? Like getting...
Yeah. I've often wondered...
Mystifying.
Why they throw so much before a game to get ready. Why? Obviously, they know pitching a whole lot more than I do. Otherwise, I'd have gotten in an argument with him in the locker room about it. But it just doesn't seem to me like... I mean, sometimes because I've sat down there at the bullpen before the game and watched people warm up. They long toss in the outfield for a while. Then they come in and throw in the bullpen. Sometimes it looks like 20 or 30 pitches. I said, it takes that long to get loose and get warmed up? Save yourself, man.
Paul Skenes is really... he throws a football around, like in the outfield before a game to get the kind of feeling.
I've seen the Cardinals do that too.
He has like a backpack thing that he twists and turns with. It's actually pretty fascinating, logistical stuff. But like when Waino was doing that, we mentioned that the other day when talking about the Mason.
When they had him mic'd up.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
And
Explaining the entire process.
I could watch 4 hours of that.
Right. But when you see a reliever get ready, sometimes they do it in a hurry, just a handful of pitches, they're in the game.
Yeah.
And a starter needs 25 minutes to get ready before he's in the game, and you still want him to go 5, 6, 7 innings?
I wonder
Clearly, I don't understand pitching.
Well, I wonder if they're not throwing as hard. Like if they're throwing fastballs, if they touch 97, maybe throw the fastball 89 or 90 in warm-ups. Just
Probably
get
so.
Kind of like what was our guy's name? Pud Galvin the other day. Who had 75
Pud Galvin
started.
didn't take himself out of a game.
75 starts and. Yeah, you don't have to take yourself out of the game when you use James Carlton, State Farm Insurance, and Tim's here to talk about it right now.
James Carlton, the Carlton State Farm Insurance Agency, is my insurance agent. You can go and talk it over with the wonderful staff that is in Webster Groves, or you can Google them and see 425 5-star reviews for people raving about their insurance agent. How often does that happen? Well, it happens here because James and his team save people money. It's going to take you, I would say, about 60 seconds to pick up the phone. Dial 314-961-4800 and then talk with somebody at James's office. And you're going to, because somebody live in the office is going to pick up the phone. You're going to be able to tell them your situation, and then they're going to go and see how they can save you money. And there's a good chance that they're going to, because people's insurance have been going up year over year. And that's where James comes in and he saves you money. And then you go, oh, why didn't I do this before? Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Take care of the future. Take care of the now. CarltonInsurance.net. If your insurance costs a leg and an arm, call James Carlton, State Farm, at 314-961-4800.
The football is to help with extension in the arm muscles. Well, I think we understood that it was related to getting your arm ready. That's from Floyd Velvet. Big Tough said, Doug, you don't understand pitching, and that's okay. Bearcats, if they make the playoffs, it's going to be great when the weather's questionable every day and Gray can't do his routine. Fix it, Sonny. It's your damn job. That's from Bearcats, whose son, Lil Bearcats, is also a frequent texter.
As people give Sonny Gray grief for not being able to pitch and everything, the other flip side of that is, thank God he takes care of himself. Where would they be without him?
Right. Whatever he's doing.
What if he pitches and gets hurt?
Right. You can mock the routine and the having to come out early, but they're 14-4 when he starts.
Yeah. Can't have it both ways.
Right. No, I think you're right, Doug. You respect the fact that his process works. You do get a little frustrated when there's no wiggle room and I don't know. That Cubs game, that fourth, which was 2 weeks ago, that closing game of the 4-game series, it would have been his, quote, turn, 5th day, if they said, you're not pitching because we're sticking to this 6th day.
Yeah.
Or if he didn't want to, I don't know. I think that's when you say, all right, logic here tells us, yeah, the 9-day break, you roll back out here today, this lines up perfectly, then you're the Sunday night guy at Wrigley. That just makes so much more sense. Got a break here. It is the Morning After TMA, presented by Brown & Crouppen. TCU, Together Credit Union. They are here to help you with a mortgage, and we're talking all types of mortgage. You can get all types of mortgages, but especially things like the contributor, the community contributor. That one is all for our firefighters, our emergency responders, people who are in that line of work. You can get a community contributor mortgage. Specialty mortgages like that available at Together Credit Union. They are your hometown home loan provider. Everything's done in-house. When we're talking about the underwriting, the servicing, everything is done locally. Together Credit Union knows that it can get a little complicated. They're going to make it easy. They have all these great specialty loans, FHA, construction, union member mortgages. And again, check it out. If you're somebody involved, like a first responder, they have the community contributor mortgage. Fixed rate, adjustable rate, conventional jumbo loans. They've got it all. Go online, togethercu.org. Find out what rates are available. Here's to making St. Louis your home. Remember, Together Credit Union is your hometown home loan provider. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
This is Jackson with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals back in action tonight following the loss to the Nationals yesterday. 6:45 p.m. first pitch tonight with Miles Michaelis toeing the slab for the Redbirds. That was another Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Well, it was Ringo's birthday the other day.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Peace and love, everyone. And this is
just a banger.
Just a banger.
Yeah.
I think.
Real anthem, really.
Did you stumble into a bangers theme today?
Kinda. You know, I love Hey Jude.
Why Hey Jude? Why did you just... I love that song.
I like this part of it.
Okay.
It's a great Ted Lasso scene with this song used heavily.
Guys, please address Mizzou refusing to play SLU even in an exhibition game that's weak. Stu Durando, who has his SLU Substack, covers the Billikens, had a report about some... I don't think were they even exhibition games, just kind of workouts or exhibition games in the preseason for Billiken basketball, and they wanted to play some other schools, programs, and that Mizzou turned them down, according to Stu Durando.
I hate that.
I do too. I would love.
Wish they played just a rule.
I would too. I would love.
But is there an argument from Mizzou saying it's an exhibit? What's the point? But
well, they should be playing every year in the regular season.
I agree.
One of the early games, instead of playing who knows what small school in southeastern North Dakota Tech, they should play Mizzou and get some interest there.
I would love it. I would love that.
And I'm sure the Billikens would love it too.
For sure.
Mizzou, no, we don't want to. We might lose. I'm embarrassed that that's the tack that they take.
And that was always the stance that we have more to lose. Like if we lose the game, like
right.
And I've
but
always
in this
said,
one, we don't know the reasoning why that they would.
No, we
turn
don't
that
know
down.
why. It may have been a scheduling.
We have no idea. We have no idea. And I'm not saying Stu is wrong
just
for reporting.
Dennis Gates gave you a personal shout out.
No, but I think in any
scholarship,
I think if the situation was flipped, we don't. But we can't just be like just because they're scared.
But when they can't figure it out for years on end, you know,
I think
they
Doug is saying historically. Which predates Dennis Gates.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm not saying they have to play on a certain date. Oh, we have a conflict. No, they never play them. They did way back when. It's probably going back 20 years or more. They had a little series going there, and it was great. Everybody loved it.
They played at the Dome one year. Remember that?
Yeah.
Trust me, I would love it. I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
And they would argue, well, we already got Kansas occasionally, and we play Illinois. Like, you can't play... The big-time programs are always playing. Duke, Michigan State are always playing big. Illinois always plays a ton of big-time opponents.
And it's different than college football. Like you can totally lose. You can lose a game. It doesn't matter.
You can lose and not win.
It's not like college football where every single game like you got to win essentially. Like it's you can lose and still get in the tournament, still make a run. So yeah, I would love to see it. But
we don't know the particulars here. Coach Schertz would probably share them because he's a friend of the show. But maybe Dennis Gates, maybe it's a scheduling thing, don't know. But as fans, every time Mizzou plays Prairie View A&M or whatever, you're like, God, wouldn't it be fun if they played SLU?
It's frustrating.
Would you be more likely to get in your car, go down to Columbia if it's a SLU Mizzou game?
If they're on the floor playing basketball, I'm going.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's one of those the fans be damned decision. We don't care what the fans want. It's all about the coach and
I always heard
the
alumni
athletic director
were like powerful alumni would tell Mizzou's AD not to do it. I'm like, what? But that's so short-sighted.
Aren't we powerful alumni, Jackson and I? Powerful alumni.
Yeah, we wield some power for sure. Try our best to, at least.
Doug Bunyan said an exhibition game between Mizzou and SLU would be a great fundraiser for tornado victims.
I think it'd be great. I think there's a multitude of different ways to go about it. I think it would be great.
And they could do it every year because, we're going to have a tornado every year.
Mm-hmm. St. Louis University is not the junior high school team that Missouri likes to play in their non-conference schedule. That's my point, is there's always some just really random.
Yeah. Well, but Mizzou's not the only team. Yeah, SLU does it too.
Correct. But if SLU's saying, we're willing to add Mizzou instead of a random
for sure.
ass, yeah. SLU does the same thing to SIUE. They won't play them because they might lose again. Well, they did play them. Remember Baroni and company beat him a couple of years ago.
Oh, that's right.
I think it was Travis's last year, man.
Yeah, I do remember that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if since then have they stopped playing them. I think all the state teams, we've said this before, this should almost be like a round robin.
Yeah,
Missouri
I couldn't
State
agree
should
more.
play at Mizzou.
Yeah, why not keep the money in the state?
For sure. I'd be listen, I'm totally on board with it. I would love it. But I just think it's case by case. We don't know, especially with this one. This just came out.
Mizzou's often right on the bubble for making the tournament. One bad loss to SLU might end that run. I'm not defending them, but it's likely the most likely the reason. But this was this was also an exhibition.
I don't think they're worried about that one game being
I wouldn't discount
factor.
that. I wouldn't discount that.
I think it could be a good win. I think it could be viewed as a good win if you get that. If you play SLU on the road and they have a good season where they're in the top 2 of the A-10, I think that's a great win to have.
Well, it would be a great win, but it'd also be a bad loss.
I don't think it would be on the road. If it was on the road, if SLU was a quad 2 team or even a quad 1 and a good year, a quad 1 road loss, that doesn't look bad at all.
And it doesn't have to do with the program elevating because SLU for a while there was a tournament type team.
Absolutely.
And they still couldn't get this thing done. And every time you would ask either Chris May, the AD, or the SLU coaches, they would kind of say, well, we're open to it. Well, we'd love to see it happen. Well, I'll call Conzo and see if he wants to do it. And it just never happens.
Complain about the YouTube, not giving enough love to the YouTube chat. I see it. Jackson's such a Mizzou homer from TMA Remote Lab. Bad take, Jake and St. Fan View. I want them to play each other, but the idea that Mizzou is scared to possibly lose, to me, I don't necessarily buy that narrative. I think it always comes down to money, doesn't it? I mean, doesn't it always come down to money?
Yeah.
So you would make more money with a home game against SLU. I think they've always argued about, well, we'll come there and you come here twice. That kind of stuff. That's why
I'd
they
love
play
to see Mizzou play Missouri State and SEMO and St. Louis U. And
Lindenwood is now D1.
Yeah, Lindenwood, they could play all those in the non-conference.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I'm absolutely on board with it. But the idea of just because they don't play, now Mizzou is automatically because they're scared of possibly losing, that just doesn't pass the smell test for me.
Oh, well, I think that's exactly why they don't play. I think that's exactly why they don't play. They don't want to risk a non-conference loss. I mean,
but they play Illinois every single year.
They'll play the big guys when there's big money national television involved.
Yeah.
But they're not going to, on a random Tuesday in early November, they're not going to play these teams.
That could be. But then I think that would be a problem college basketball-wide, not just a Mizzou problem. And again, you can call me Mizzou homer, whatever.
Quamain Vayukis IV says it would be a quad 2 loss at worst. Mizzou fans worried about their prestigious image 2 years removed from going 0-18 in the SEC is laughable.
Well, tournament last year had the Billikens do, if you want to start pulling out records.
SLU and Mizzou won't play Missouri State.
No. Okay. I wish they would. I think most fans wish they would. What fan doesn't want to see these interstate games? Probably none.
Oh, I think you're spot on, Doug.
Hey, Mr. Martin, why does this Jackson kid not want Mizzou to play SLU? Starts out talking all rational, then acts all tough, dropping the pitch of his voice, adding a sort of gravelly effect. So fake. Thanks, and free perk. That's from #1 Asian intern Brian Henshin.
I love Brian Henshin.
I think he's trying to poke the proverbial bear, not the Missouri State bear, because nobody wants to play them, apparently. Quit talking sport. Let's talk about how cute Doug looks in the collared shirt. That's from Jamie's Vacation Speedo.
I always wear a collared shirt.
I was about to say, I can't even remember a time where I've seen you in a T-shirt.
No, I don't wear just T-shirts to work.
Jupiter. Well, now shot was fired right there. I mean, there's 3 of us in here in T-shirts. But
I don't.
In Jamaica and Jupiter, I saw you in more casual wear.
I don't think I ever wore a T-shirt.
Well, I mean,
I would never wear a T-shirt.
Just kind of hanging around. Well, not
just
to work.
Not my thing.
Yeah.
We now have a professional pickleball team, guys. Can we talk about them for a while? The Shock. They'll be here next week. The St. Louis Shock.
Giving away tickets for that for the
I
designer.
think if some of these guys can just work on their range and stay out of the kitchen, they got a good chance to win this thing.
Dink season.
Mm-hmm. I played yesterday. Surprisingly fun.
That's fun.
Is it your first time?
I think I had played once years ago, but it was hot. I was all lathered up yesterday.
I can imagine.
What's good about it is that you can play just immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't take weeks of lessons and a couple of years of training before you can play a decent game. You can almost play immediately.
I don't want to toot my own horn, but I was pretty good.
Yeah. I think you just tooted your own horn.
You did.
I was able to go lefty pretty effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt just said he was lathered up if he was hot. Doug, if you're hot in your home, who should you call and when should you call him?
Mark Milton, who's going to take care of your taxes so that you can pay to have that
Not
fixed.
what I was thinking. Not at all.
He'll take care of the godforsaken tax man for you, and then you won't have any problems with air conditioners that don't work. That's coming later. If you're currently sideways with the IRS, maybe years of unfiled tax returns or tax liens, bank levies, wage garnishments keeping you up at night, or heaven forbid, you've got a criminal investigation going against you with the IRS, you're in some hot water and you need Mark Milton in your corner. He is at the STLTaxLawyer.com. Mark Milton at STLTaxLawyer.com provide a local and holistic approach to tax resolution. Mark started his legal career with the Department of Justice Tax Division in Washington, D.C., where he represented the IRS in tax cases throughout the country and even received the DOJ's Outstanding Trial Attorney Award. So he is one of the best in the country at what he does, and now he's here to help individuals and small businesses in the St. Louis area solve their tax problems. So any kind of IRS issues at all, you contact Mark Milton at STLTaxLawyer.com today, and you'll be saying, I am not guilty, I am with Milty. Remember, the choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
Do you think anybody's going to call Mark Milton today and say that their cooling system is
He'd be able to take care of it.
He would. He's a delight. Nellie's involved in horse racing. We're going to explain that. 10 o'clock hour. Don't forget the Design Air email today for all your legal needs. You call Design Air, designairservice.com. They bring you the email today. It's the morning after Pestis. Listen, the morning after at InsideSTL.com. Fire off your emails. We'll get to that in the bottom of the show, the end of the show.
That's right.
We've cleared the deck. We've talked movie etiquette. In fact, in the break room, I started talking to folks from the Riz show about movie etiquette and whether you can bring a blanket. And, it's now become a hot topic throughout the building.
Good.
This is a thought-generating show. It's the morning after, brought to you by Brown & Crouppen. Texter earlier said that Brett Hull named his kid Jude because of the song Hey Jude. How about that?
That's awesome.
Fun facts to know and tell.
That is fun. Fun.
I was doing some random nuggets on the TV last night, Doug, talking about the Holiday family, going to be the first family of baseball with Matt having a great career, then Jackson in the league, first overall pick. Ethan's going to go top pick. Then the Kachuk family, you go from Big Walt. Brady was drafted 4th. Matthew was drafted 6th. And I said, my favorite fun fact, Ozzie Smith, Eddie Murray went to the same high school in L.A.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Both over 3,000 hits, both in the Hall of Fame, both had their number retired. We'll take your fun facts for no and tell. Right now, we're joined by Randall Lane. Randall Lane with us. He's a co-founder of the National Thoroughbred League, along with Bob Doherty, that launched in 2023. He's with Forbes. Randall, welcome to the show. How are you?
Glad to be here. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday to you. This is exciting because we have the National Thoroughbred League. We're talking about racing over at Fairmount Park. Tell us about the Nelly Cup.
The Nelly Cup, and St. Louis has a new sports team in town. The St. Louis Nellies will be making their debut at the Nelly Cup next Saturday, the 19th. And we're bringing National Thoroughbred League is the first ever team-based horse racing league in 300 years of horse racing in America. We're in our 3rd season, and Nelly took a large interest in one of the teams that was based in Seattle and has moved it to St. Louis, and they will be making their St. Louis debut a week from Saturday. And
how do you have a team in thoroughbred racing? Tell me about that.
It's not that dissimilar to any other sport, which is, thoroughbred racing is an amazing. It's fun. We all know the Kentucky Derby experience is fun, but most people outside of those Triple Crown horses, nobody can name a single horse that runs. And so what we're doing is bringing what works in every other sport, which is teams to root for, horses running under those team banners, to horse racing. And so that we have 3 races. Each team accumulates points depending on how it finishes in the race. And at the end of the day, somebody gets crowned the champion of the Nelly Cup in St. Louis next weekend. So it's bringing what works in every other sport, teams to root for, stars who play for those teams to thoroughbred horse racing.
So St. Louis has a certain number of horses that are on our team?
Correct. So, and next year we'll be even expanding that, and you'll be hearing more about that. But that's right. On next week, there will be certain horses running for the St. Louis team and certain horses running for the New York team, and they wear the uniforms. The jockeys wear the uniforms of the team, and the horses wear the saddle cloths of the team, and so it's easy to see who's running for what team. And it gives you something to root for besides what you're betting on. Now, of course, you could bet on your team as well, but you don't have to. You have a way to root for the home team, and it gives it's a lot of fun because now all of a sudden across the day you're watching the points accumulate and you're rooting for your home team.
Randall Lane is the Chief Content Officer for Forbes Media, also a co-founder of the National Thoroughbred League. So give us an idea. You're kicking this around. People are like, what? What are you talking about? When you decided to come up with a Thoroughbred League, what gave you that idea?
The idea simply was why you have this magnificent sport that will attract 150,000 people who go to the Kentucky Derby, but yet, except for those Triple Crown races and maybe the Breeders' Cup, there aren't enough of those big events, and it's in part because you don't know the horses and you don't, and there's nothing to follow. And creating this team circuit that travels around the country, the same teams running against each other, we're creating that ability to have an easy way to follow horse racing. And we make it a party. I mean, next Saturday, it's free to come, by the way. So, and there's no tickets needed. We're really, this is a give back to St. Louis. We're saying come for the day, have super fun. We have fashion shows. We have music. We have a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer performing, Jerobe White. So it's a big fun day for the community. And so, it'll be, you get dressed up and you have fancy drinks. And so it's creating that Kentucky Derby atmosphere wherever we go. So it's fun for the family, fun to go with the friends, and next Saturday it's free. So it's the experience, and then the idea that you know what's going on. You see the races. It's easy to follow because, again, it's teams running in each race. You can still bet on it if you want. So it's creating what works in every other sport, which is teams, and it's easy to follow, and it gives you something to root for, and bringing out the horse racing as opposed to going on an average day where you're just kind of betting on number 6 in the third race, and it's less fun than when you have a rooting interest.
So is there a schedule? Will they have like 10 of these, and will the Nellies then travel to River Downs in Cincinnati or other places?
Correct. The Nellies will be in the Labor Day weekend. We'll be running in Nashville, and we've already had races this year in Philadelphia. We had in Baltimore. Lamar Jackson was the host of the Pimlico Cup in Baltimore. So we have celebrities. Dr. J was the host in Philadelphia at the Philadelphia Cup. We have Tanya Tucker, the Country Music Hall of Famer, hosting in Nashville. And the idea that the Nellies, and we have the favorite son of St. Louis as the owner of the St. Louis team, is a lot of fun. It brings that local flavor, and we're going to have a lot of fun next Saturday. Hopefully all your listeners will come out. Again, it's free, so check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's from 4 to 8 p.m. Saturday, July 19th. Final thought for our guest, Randall Lane with the National Thoroughbred League, who works also with Forbes as a chief content officer. They give you those great rankings every year. We always want to know, what are the Cardinals worth? That's a quick aside, but do you guys ever get much, and maybe it's not under your domain, but do you guys ever get much feedback from teams when they say, oh, you're way out of line, we're worth way less, we're worth way more?
The teams pretty much all talk to us. Those rankings are very knowledgeable about what's really going on, and the teams will publicly say that it's not true, but they'll privately tell us, you guys are onto something. So it's how it is in the media business. You guys do it public deniability, but in private. Listen, if you look at our rankings and then look what a lot of teams sell for, our team does a really good job. So.
And again, Nelly will be there Saturday, July 19th, Fairmount Park from 4 to 8. It is team racing, National Thoroughbred League. Randall, thanks so much for hopping on.
Thanks. Again, enjoy the day, guys.
All right. Randall Lane with us on 101 ESPN. He checked in on the Callier and Thompson phone lines. For all your tax needs, you go to Callier and Thompson. And for all your heating and cooling needs, you go to Mark Milton. Phone lines are 974-0101. I think we've had a record day, Doug, with phone calls. What would you say, Kurt? Maybe 6 or 7 have made their way through the gauntlet of the Kurt.
Check how many notes that are sitting in front of you.
I've ripped up some. Actually, that's a great.
Are there more?
No, lines are clear right now.
Clear the lines.
All right. Boy. Mark and Quincy called in. Lisa called in. Keaton, it said, fired up. Good one.
Keith, who was actually Greg, or Greg, who was actually
I'm
Keith?
still confused. I think it was Keith from Wisconsin, but he lives in Dogtown. He's got the great South Milwaukee. Oh, Tony wanted to talk Cardinals. Sadly, I did not get to Tony in time. So that is
wasn't
3,
Russo, was
4,
it?
5, 6. The skipper was listening.
Yeah, he and I on our first name basis after last
week. Skipper
week.
called in. Yes, heard Doug say
that's
something.
not fair.
I wish he would call and say, yeah, this is Jackson talking about the blanket, man. I don't think it's his business.
Tied for first.
Do you have a good Tony bank over there, Jackson?
It's the first week of the season.
The classic.
That was 2011, by the way.
Yeah.
And he went through the lineup. You don't think David Freese is going to hit?
Yeah.
You don't think Albert's going to hit? And then when he kept going, I would think, who was the last one? Terrio? Yeah, I'm not so sure he will. I wanted to go line by line.
Is that the most famous Tony moment in his tenure? Like outside of winning World Series?
The Bernie blow up was big.
Yeah. But I guess maybe a scrap with Dusty. The back and forth with Dusty.
But that was on the field.
Yeah.
I think he had so many isms where, the tied for first, like the lingo, but I think first week of the season.
Yeah, that one's iconic.
Him and Bernie, the blow up. They had a lot of great posts, Johnny Load, man. Tony is back on the line. Tony, I'm so sorry. Tony wanted to talk Cardinals. Maybe it's the skipper. I don't know, Doug. We're about to find out.
I'm sure it is. Hello, Tony.
It's not the skipper, but I was driving through the land of Lincoln and had a drop whenever I was waiting to talk to you guys. But getting to the Cardinal point, I really think whenever Walt Jocketty left and Tony left and Albert left, it just kind of seemed to go downhill. I credit everything that Mo's done, bringing in Goldschmidt, Arenado, Gray, but whenever you had that press conference at the end of the year last year, very arrogant, saying that they weren't going to spend any money. I mean, in my right mind, I wouldn't be going to the ball game either. The only reason that I have attended games
because you're not in your right mind. You attended games.
Well, promotions. That's it. You know, you can buy $49 pass for the month, and you can just go down and get the promotions. And switching topics, I mean, being a Battlehawk season ticket holder for the past couple years, I mean, that best parking lot used to be packed. And I think there's some sideways stuff going on with the people that own the lot, the city. But, I mean, there's nobody showing up. And there were several times where I think that the Battlehawks drew more than what the Cardinals are drawing this year, you know. So I just want to thanks for taking my call. And Martin, by the way, I'm the Martin sweater vest. Back in the day, me and my buddy Chris saw you at Hal Fitzgerald's, and you hit on a nice cardigan sweater.
I don't think I've ever owned a cardigan sweater.
We had one on that night.
Oh, it was you. It was you, because he come up to me and goes, Martin Kilcoyne's at the bar. And he goes, you got to check out this sweater vest. Sweater vest, cardigan, whatever you want to call it. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, buddy. It was you.
All right. Just got outed for having a cardigan sweater. Martin's at the bar. Okay, now that's been said. I don't know if do you need a cardigan at Helen Fitzgerald's? I don't even know if I've been to Helen Fitzgerald's.
Bring a blanket.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, usually I bring a blanket. Yeah. Thank you, Tony, for the call and for identifying yourself as the texter known as Martin Sweater Vest, because I've asked, what does that even mean? All right, thank you, Tony. Eric in the Central West End has called in to say hi to Jackson. Hi, Eric. Oh, no. Are you banning him?
No. Where is he?
Okay.
Hello?
Hey, hello, Eric.
Yeah, hey, Doug. How you doing?
Oh, I'm fine. You?
Good. I wanted to circle back on, you guys were talking about airplane etiquette and 7 o'clock hour.
Sure.
Were we?
Anyway, so you guys are always looking for a good sky picking story.
Yeah, you got one?
All right. So, yeah, I do, yeah.
For folks who are new to the show, Eric, if you don't mind, tell them what sky pig, what that means.
So, I will quote the great Tim McKernan on this.
Drop kick. Bang.
Wow.
Corner.
His definition of sky picking is when you bring a treat or another snack onto an airplane, and then right when you get to cruising altitude, you decide to reward yourself and open it up and, you know, let the rest of the plane and enjoy your food with you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so anyway, so a friend of a friend was flying. This was the other day, and he's sitting there, and a lady asked for a big cup of hot water, and just a cup of hot water. And
I can feel where this one's going.
Ramen?
Yeah.
Jackson, you're not even going to know where this is going. Okay.
All right.
So you two are always sideways.
No. I'm locked in.
It's all in fun.
Absolutely.
Whatever. Anyway, all right. So he's sitting there and he's like, I wonder why she just wanted a big cup of hot water. She proceeds to take out a bag of instant mashed potatoes.
Oh, God.
A bag of instant mashed potatoes, opens it up, pours the hot water into the bag of instant mashed potatoes, and that was her sky-picking treat.
Oh, my God.
Who thinks, like, when you're packing up, okay, I've got my outfit for the weekend, my toiletries. Oh, where are the instant mashed potatoes?
That's just bad form. That's bad form. Oh. What, you put it in, like, one of those little 8-ounce, 6-ounce cups that they give you with their ginger ale?
Just ate it out of the bag.
So she dumped the hot water in the bag?
In the bag. In the bag, correct.
First of all, you might scald yourself doing something like that.
Where was this flight going, Branson?
I don't know. If I had, I'm actually not sure. I think actually back to Chicago, probably.
Wow.
Based on the person involved. But anyway.
Now, if we circle back to Eric in the Central West End, who Jackson thinks is handsome, but they're often sideways via the text line. To circle back to Jackson's movie theater not confronting someone, did you want to, like, say, that's for home, save it for Thanksgiving? Did you feel the need to say anything?
Well, he was told the story, right? You didn't experience this.
Sorry, told the story.
I will say I have no shame. Like, I am the person, I will call somebody out for just about anything. So, if it was me, I would have I just straight up would have said something. And typically, in most social circumstances, it ends whatever it is that is the issue.
Yeah. Something like a mashed potato, it's not like, I don't think the odor would be too bad on something like that.
I was just going to say,
it's
it
just
seems
incredibly odd. Like
just,
that is just, it's
kind of
really
gross
strange.
to observe.
It's just really strange.
Jackson's Lone Wispy Pube says, this is such a lie. Eric, you should have jumped out of the imaginary plane. They're disputing the credibility here.
I'll take it. I'll send you in a text screenshot. How's that?
No, I'm buying it. I'm buying it.
There we go.
You know, they have like those bags of like tuna that you can buy too. Think about that, where it's like it's not even refrigerated.
Like a tuna helper kind of thing.
Yeah.
Tuna is a non-starter on an airplane.
Right.
Absolute non-starter.
Right. Like I'm all for people getting their omega-3s, but not near me.
You can't do that on a plane. Yeah.
Well, you know what? It sounds like you two have bonded. Jackson
we
and
often find common ground, and that's the great thing about humanity.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Thank you, Eric.
Well, enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah,
that's
thank you, Eric.
Eric in the Central West End. Guys, caller Tony sounded like Big Walt, Keith Kachuk. Love the show. I texted him a couple of weeks ago and said, are you still alive? That was after the Panthers won the cup. And he wrote back, yes. I was hoping that was the answer.
That's when you got the copy-paste text from Matthew.
Thank you. Your support means a lot.
Yeah, thanks, champ.
Appreciate everything. It's been a great time. ... Thank you for your support. But then I said, call in, big man. And that's all I said. And I realized he never did.
Unfair.
We'll get to your text, get to your calls. It's time for a break here. It is the Morning After, brought to you by Brown & Group.
Dents Express is local, and if you have some dents that you need tended to, Dents Express takes it all and takes care of you by taking care of everything with your insurance. It's a local gem, Dents Express, family-owned and operated right here in St. Louis since 1992. Gray Wilson and his team are the go-to experts for paintless dent removal, whether it's hail damage, door dings, or those annoying shopping cart dings. What I love is these guys aren't just good, they're experienced. Their techs have been with them for over 20 years. That means you can trust the people working on your vehicle. They offer free evaluations, no appointment necessary, and they'll even handle everything with your insurance. That's right. You drop it off, they take it from there. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 5, and located in West County. Call 636-227-5050, or just swing by. Tell Gray that TMA sent you their way. That's Dents Express, St. Louis's leader in hail damage repair.
We'll John Prine
I love
for you.
John Prine.
May he rest in peace.
Died during COVID.
Yeah. It was like, it's my family, my entire family. Adores John Prine.
John Prime?
Prine.
He was a mailman in Chicago, Doug. Then he started performing. How about wishing you all the best? Maybe Big Old Goofy World. What's the one with Iris DeMent? That
In Spite of Ourselves?
Yeah, oh, I love that song.
Yeah.
Is that a banger or a ballad?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's a ballad and a banger.
Ballads can be bangers.
Okay. I love John Prine. Why are we playing him?
Bangers.
Oh, okay. Just came to your mind.
Just, I'm just trying to bring over here, just trying to bring heat best I can.
I did look up Mizzou versus Missouri State in basketball. We were talking about in-state games. Last played in 99. They've only played 4 times total. Doug, they played that game in 1941.
Yeah, I remember that one.
Then they played in 86, so they kind of kept that thing rolling. Then they played again in 88.
I was too old to go to those two.
And then in November of 98. That's it for Missouri playing Missouri State. As far as SLU and Mizzou, how many times do you think SLU and Mizzou, think historically, SLU and Mizzou have played how many times? Basketball.
I'm going second on this one.
Well, they probably... I'm just guessing they may have played frequently in like the 40s and the 50s. Just guessing about that.
Yeah, I was asking for a number.
I know. I'm just trying to.
Numbers.
I'm trying to workshop this out loud.
Yeah, you are.
I'll say they've played 10 times.
I'll say they play 11 times.
You son of a sack.
Jackson has nailed it because they've played 40 times.
Yes.
40?
Yes, 40 times over the years. The last time was in 2002, part of that series, and that was with Quinn Snyder.
It was a good Mizzou team, though, too.
2000, 2001, 2002. They played at the TWA Dome. Not saying it was a long time ago, but it was at the TWA Dome, November of 99. That was a great game.
I was there for that, too, yeah.
And then they played in Columbia Mo. I remember because SLU was leading, and we had the game on the 2 Fox, and the producer of the game in my ear said, we're going to have a little time, the way the game was going to fill to the top of the hour. Make sure we'll have a guest ready. So I went over to the great Doug Macalaga. Dougie Mac, we're at I'm sure it was Hearns. And I went over and said, hey, can we get Coach Romar? I think that's who it would have been. I'm trying to remember. Hey, can we get, for the he said, don't jinx. He got really upset because he's superstitious because they were in the lead and looked like they were going to win. And lo and behold, Mizzou won the game. So that interview never came to pass. And then the next year, Mizzou won at the Kiel or Savas, whatever it was called at the time. I think that Wesley Stokes hit like a half-court shot or something. So there it is. SLU Mizzou not happening this year. Stu Duranda reported that they were trying to have an exhibition game and that Missouri said no. But again, we don't know the reasons. Dennis Gates has offered Jackson a scholarship, which he's turned down. Then we had video of Coach Gates mad at you, remember?
Oh, that's right.
Earlier
that's
this
really
summer,
funny.
Wondering what gives. Cards play tonight. We've got the Nats in town. 3rd game. It's the series on the line. Doug says it's the biggest game of the year.
I've never said that.
I think he said because it was the series.
No, the series don't matter. Just wins.
Miles Michaelis is on the mound. We have registered as many as we can of your predictions, your projections for what will happen tonight. We went through his day-night splits. He's actually better during the day, we figured out. Much better during the day. The ERA, Doug, is 4.62.
Okay.
At night, it's over 6.
Well, fine.
His ERA at home is much better.
Okay,
when you
good.
take into account his ERA at home is 4.32 versus the road where it's 5.58.
But he's going to have a good night this evening.
You just feel it.
Because my theory is every time you think you've got things figured out and you know exactly how it's going to go, it tends to go the other way.
It
happens a lot.
I'm with Doug. I'm riding with Doug in his prediction. So, Doug, you and I are in the same boat.
Okay, good.
I understand that theory. I often subscribe to that theory, but I can't quite do it. My brain won't allow me to do it. That's why I'm at 4 1/3 with 4 runs.
But Doug, I feel like Doug is it's the exact game where you think, yep, here it goes, Michaelis. This will be the possibly the last start you ever see, and then he goes out and maybe not a gem, but like you said, a quality start, 6 innings, maybe 2 earned runs, Cardinal W. And
he's not facing the greatest lineup in Major League Baseball.
No,
but they do have some hitters, and they did score 8 runs last night.
James Wood's a good player, man.
He's a really good player.
Yeah. I like watching him play.
Looks like he might have what we call star potential,
Yeah.
which is kind of exciting if you have a star in the making.
Yeah, but with the Nets, it feels like they won.
I'm kidding because we keep saying the Cardinals need a star.
But it does feel like the Nats won in 2019, and then like their penance for that is just to be garbage for the last few years.
And that's a big market. There's a lot of money in D.C.
Huge.
Pittsburgh and the White Sox have to have some stars they don't need or not using.
Yeah, certainly.
Can we fleece them for somebody, anybody? What would it take to get Skenes?
Well, yesterday on the text line, we had somebody suggesting it, and I think it was give them Michaelis, Newbar, Matt Carpenter. It was the most random package deal. And if you think about it, sports radio really was launched just for those trade offers.
Trade proposals.
Yeah, what else did you have in mind?
But realistically, if it was to happen, what would the Cardinals have to get Pittsburgh to get Paul Skenes?
So in this hypothetical, to get Paul Skenes from the Pirates.
In a trade.
Quinn Matthews.
Yeah.
Tink Hence.
Win, probably.
Maybe win. Is that enough?
No.
Okay. Future stars, which is kind of what they wanted.
They might want Walker or Gorman.
Yeah.
They're going to want young players that don't make any money.
Right, for sure.
Young players don't make any money who are good.
So they're probably going to want Jordan Walker.
You're saying we might not be their Huckleberry in this situation?
I don't know if we have what they want. That's why I was going minor league with Quinn and Tank.
Yeah, but would you make that deal? Win, Walker, Matthews, and Hintz for Paul Skenes.
Do you think this team is a Paul Skenes away from being a true contender?
Possibly.
I don't, so I wouldn't. And not to mention his price tag is going to be incredibly high when it's time to sign him long term. I don't know if the Cardinals are willing to do that. That reeks of pinstripes or Chavez Ravine.
Don't say reeks of pinstripes.
In this hypothetical, and I love a good hypothetical.
It's a crazy thing to discuss because it's not happening. I just wonder what kind of package you think that it would take.
I don't know. I'm kind of with Martin where I don't know if there is like a possibility. That would be some, even in the realm of realistic.
Weatherholt, Matthews, Walker, Hence. That sounds like a lot.
Weatherholt, Matthews, Walker, Hintz. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Weatherholt, Matthews, Walker, Hence.
Because you're betting that these Cardinal players are going to be something someday.
Right.
None of them are really contributors now. For a guy that you know is one of the best pitchers in the game.
Do I know I'm locking him up? I'm signing him. That's the other thing is, would they spend? Because a guy like that, eventually Skenes is going to be worth $300 million.
It would be by far the biggest contract they ever signed if they were to sign him after trading for him. I just don't know if they would be able to do that.
And you certainly don't want to sign a pitcher to a 10-year contract.
Especially if attendance is kind of your thing. Like, wouldn't you rather get like a stud? Like a guy like, and I'm not saying that they would ever trade because of his contract, but like if there was a few years ago, like a guy like Juan Soto was a possibility to possibly make a trade for. That's a guy who'd come to the ballpark every day, like a Pujols type, where you know you're going to see.
Bryce Harper, Juan Soto, every once in a while, those guys who are out there, you're like
wow.
a
bona fide Hall of Fame kind of guy, like you know that. But with a pitcher, now you're going every fifth day or fifth game.
And there's also a little something theatrical with a Soto and Harper. These guys, the way they play, they're not just great players. They've got a little extra swag.
Right.
Just a hint of arrogance there, which just kind of adds to it. The aura. Is that what the kids say?
Oh, the kids love saying it, and they probably oversay it.
No, they oversay it.
Well,
it sounds like you're sideways. Are you airing a grievance?
No. Like
you're down on kids.
Why do you hate kids?
Communities.
You don't want kids to be able to go to games?
No. This is the term aura. Like, Doug, you have aura. You know?
Oh, I do?
Yeah. Like, there's like this unspoken thing about you, and everyone kind of knows it. It's like, man, when Doug walks in, it's, you know.
Yeah, right.
He pulls up business casual to casually give you the business.
I've been described as, milk toast? Who was?
Oh, Safety Karen? Safety-ass Karen?
Safety-ass Karen. Yeah. That was the famed fight. You weren't here for it, Jackson, a week ago. The famed fireworks take from Doug, who then got called a commie, which I never saw happening on this show. Guys, we don't have a surplus of anything. You can only make the trade for Skenes if you can live without what you're sending. Cardinals could not. Meaning they don't have enough to backfill.
Yeah, and the risk of a pitcher is they all get hurt at some point. At some point, you lose them all for a year for Tommy John surgery, or most of them anyway.
Right.
Most unbalanced roster I've ever seen. And then I go back, this texter once said, fire Gersh. I want to hold people accountable.
Yeah, that was solved.
Who have you seen less of, Gersh or Bloom? Probably Gersh. I feel like I see
They're
Bloom
probably
once
working
in a
on the
while.
same special projects.
Okay.
Minor league special projects.
Yeah. Not release the Hoosier, which is a damn shame.
Which they should be on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jackson.
Yes.
Aura S. Karen. So he's calling you an Aura ass Karen.
Oh, okay.
Aura.
No.
Does that hurt?
No, because like aura is used for like charisma. You know, that's kind of how they're using it nowadays, and like kind of like this unspoken cool aspect about somebody. And then if someone's doing something intentionally to look like they have aura, that's called aura farming. And I find that kind of funny.
Cardinals could offer their entire 26-man roster, all the players. It's still not enough. That was kind of Mike Ditka did that to get the top pick, and he got Ricky Williams. He traded every pick and said, I want Ricky Williams.
The LA Rams kind of did that and won that Super Bowl. And basically traded all their draft picks for like 5 years.
Was it the Vikings and Cowboys traded, 11 players for Herschel Walker?
Yeah. You got to look back on that one. That's tough.
Yeah, it kind of made the Cowboys into the Super Bowl team they were.
Right.
I would like to issue a correction. I was talking about Ozzie Smith, Eddie Murray, and I think I said Ozzie had 3,000 hits. He did not have 3,000 hits. I think and then a text said it's 2460. Ozzie's one of my favorite players. Thank you for not allowing any misspoken word to go by on the show. This show will hold you accountable.
It will.
There's an immediate audit, which we appreciate. That's called the text line. It's brought to you by Air Comfort Service, 399-9646. Also, the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. There's been a couple of texts saying, can we get some love for the YouTube chat? And the person who texted that, I had read a number of their texts. But, Jackson, right now, I don't see the wording. Have they gone dark?
No, they definitely haven't.
Said there was a lot of chatter on there. The YouTube chat, which is brought to you by Michelob Ultra, upset that they are not getting any recognition. So
I'm looking at it right now.
John Scores, Iggy on the couch. Who else, Jackson? What do you got? What are they buzzing about?
Someone said that's called taxes. Doug said Jackson has negative aura, which is nice.
Hurts.
There was some when I played one of Tim's live reads, someone said, some Tim, thank God. And that came in.
Finally, from Jake in St. John. Pay attention to us, DJ Patty Kick says.
Pay attention to us. There's a desperate plea for help and attention.
Someone bringing up the Lance Lynn story about Jason Mott getting called in and Lance Lynn going in, which is always funny.
The Zipchinski, whole thing.
I have another marketing idea for the Cardinals to go with release the Hoosiers. They need, you know how the Giants have that enormous baseball glove out in left field?
Yeah.
Cardinals need an enormous bird's nest with Cardinals out there. Drones just sitting there in the nest that you can see. And when a Cardinal hits a home run, the Cardinals come up out of the nest and start flying around the stadium.
Oh, like the Apple and where the Mets play?
I mean, they fly around the stadium. I saw this at the Anaheim Duck games. They have drone ducks flying around the arena.
You like that?
I love that.
Yeah,
we should have Cardinal drones flying around when they hit a home run.
I'm into that.
And then back into the nest they go.
Yeah.
Maybe even an occasional home run could go into the nest.
Yeah. Martin, Doug, I'm so far for a game day experience manager, you're kind of, your resume is pretty strong. Martin, do you like the sliding Brewer when Milwaukee hits a home
Bernie
run?
Brewer down the Spears? Oh, absolutely.
Sure. You like that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Why would I not?
I was just
You hate Miller Park / American Family Field, but you like that.
Because it has a roof on it.
No. But what if, so does he always have to be around that slide when they're at bat? Like he can't,
because handy, oh man, I was in the crapper and somebody just went deep.
Sure. Right,
I think when the opposing team is up is when you do your business.
Okay.
Right? Because you only have to go down the slide for the home team.
I'm sure it's somebody who's like 20 years old. How many times do you have to go to the restroom?
I'm not saying
in one game.
You has interpreted it as he's always going to the bathroom. I'm saying I've seen Fred Bird walk around in different areas of the ballpark while the Cardinals are batting.
But he doesn't have any duty specific to a moment in the game.
No, for sure. So that's what I'm saying is when the Brewers are at bat, he has to be by the slide.
I think yes.
Okay.
Because when there's a home run, Bernie in Lederhosen, Bernie Brewer, not Bernie Miklasz, but Bernie Brewer goes down the slide.
I think it would be really funny
if he wasn't there.
If they hit a home run and everyone's looking at the slide and then you see Bernie Brewer flying down the concourse, pushing people out of the way so he can get down the slide.
And then Bernie goes, oh, sorry, pal. I thought the break was going to be longer. If any listeners in Troy, Missouri, my water pump just went out. I'm walking and sweating my ass off. I could use a ride. Thanks. That's from Tim's Toothless Bottom Boy.
It sounds like he could use Design Air Heating and Cooling.
Well, no, it's in his car that broke down.
Well,
maybe his home.
Car.
Send us a mile marker.
They know how to fix everything at Design Air. I think they can get your car taken care of. Certainly they can get your air conditioner or your furnace going. If your heating or cooling is a guessing game, well, then you're doing it wrong. If you're sweating in January or wrapped in a blanket in July, time to call Design Air Heating and Cooling. They've been in business since 1904, which means they've been actually fixing furnaces before air conditioning was even a thing, which is kind of mind-boggling, really. Seth Goldcamp is the guy in charge. He runs a trustworthy ship. No gimmicks, no upsells. Never going to try to sell you something you don't need. He only wants to get your air conditioner up and running like you like it. Design Air is also the longest running sponsor on TMA, which basically means they've got the HVAC street cred and the loyalty badge with us. So head to designairservice.com, schedule your service, and breathe easy. Design Air, been doing it right for over 100 years, not about to stop doing it. Now, they're also the home of the handsome repairman. We suggest you ask for Larry, the Silver Fox.
I went to the game last night. First game I've been to this season. I know the Cardinals have focused a lot on the in-game experience. To me, the best in-game experience is the game, which sucked horribly. Spinning the little wheel between innings was fun, but I'd rather the Cardinals just win. It's so true if your team is winning.
Yeah.
A lot of people talked earlier about going to City Park, Energizer Park, shout out Matt Poling, and saying that they've got the vibe down and all of that. A little earlier this season, numbers were starting to drop off. People were frustrated. Even if they had tickets, weren't going. And they would tell you, instead of a sellout, maybe the tickets were also, they were seeing about 2,000 less people coming to the games. So winning, big surprise, is still the ultimate draw.
It's just win. It's all
right. And the Blues would tell you, like probably early January, their numbers are getting a little soft. Home games are dropping a little bit. Tickets, there were tickets available by the end of the year. Oh, my God, you got tickets? Oh, don't have any extras. Because they were winning.
But wouldn't you say in a post-2019 Stanley Cup era that Blues fans, and attendance-wise as well...
Is this a clearing the deck?
No, but I would say they have a little bit more... Like they're hanging in there a little longer when things go south than Cardinal fans in a post... I don't know, 2019, 2020 world.
What you're referring to is patience? We ask you to be patient.
Winning is always going to fix things, but you're not always going to win. And you always want the experience to be fun for people who are spending a lot of money to go down there.
Right.
So the trick is, how do you do that even in years where you're not a championship contending team?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you have to figure out. Because nowadays, people want a really big-time entertainment experience when they go, and they drop all this money.
Right. Like you need stakes in a way. Like it isn't the marvel of the sport being right in front of your eyeballs is no longer, going to get people in the door on its own. You need some stakes to it. What does this mean for the grand scheme, the big picture of the team? I think you're right on there.
I'm enjoying the baseball banter, but I'm also trying to connect the toothless Tim's bottom boy with the convex piece of Tim's skull, who said, I'm in Moscow Mills right now, toothless bottom boy. I'm on my way, but it's going to cost you something. And then the original broken down car said, thank you, Martin. But I don't feel I've really identified where to pick up or meet, but we are here to help. This is what we do. This is help your neighbor at your service. Just phone in, text in, and we will connect you.
Where is he walking? He says he's walking in Troy, Missouri.
I'm guessing on the side of the road.
At least?
No, I said we need a little more. How will you be identified, toothless bottom boy?
He's just in Troy.
He's in Troy.
Just staggering along the roadside. Sounds like he's close to death, frankly.
How people are just pulling over, anybody walking. Hey, are you the bottomless boy? I'm sorry? No, I'm sorry, the toothless bottom boy. Sorry?
Martin, I'm going to tell folks real quick about the giveaway for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. 101 ESPN has your shot to score a pair of 4-day passes for Major League Pickleball, sponsored by Stella Artois, next Thursday, July 17th through next Sunday, July 20th at Chaffetz Arena. It's hosted by the hometown St. Louis Shock. This event will be the largest pro pickleball event ever. 101 listeners can also get a special discount on single-day and 4-day tickets by using the code WXOS. Find out all the details and a bonus chance to win free tickets for Major League Pickleball at 101ESPN.com or or on your one-on-one mobile app. That's our prize today for the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today.
As an old, I'm not a fan of the music being played by certain concessions. I want to hear the game. That's why I'm there. If I want to go clubbing, I would. With the speed of the game, I'll miss a good inning or more waiting in a concession line. I don't want to hear music. I want to hear the game. That was one of the in-game changes as you're walking the concourse.
But they also have TVs pretty much by every concession stand that have the game up. And it's the in-game feed, too, so there's no, delay. Because that could be a problem.
I do like walking around a state in the call of the game, like Blues game in the hallway. You want to hear Kerr.
I agree.
Yeah,
I kind of like that. I like it as the soundtrack of the building.
But when I've gone to the bathroom this year at Cardinal games, I guess maybe one time I heard music, but it was early in the game. But every time I've gone past the fifth inning, it's always had the radio call of the game in the bathroom, which I like a lot.
Yeah. You would think that would be
standard,
almost mandatory and standard to hear the game when you're not actually in your seat, when you can't see it.
Right.
I'm surprised that they would do anything otherwise.
If I wanted to watch a fan experience instead of quality baseball, I would just watch a Savannah Bananas game, which, again, post-COVID, downtown, parking, crime, all those things that we've talked about as factors for lower attendance, all of that out the window when they sell out for the Savannah Bananas. So it's still fan frustration with the franchise as well as the product itself. We have an update now. Hey, tell Toothless I'm at the Jack in the Box at 47 and 61.
Okay, there you go.
There's a Toothless taco maker that works there. Feel like they might know each other. So I don't know now if I'm really helping or if I may be called as a witness.
Would Highway 47 and the Highway 61 intersect? Would those both be going north and south?
I don't know enough about Highway 47 and Highway 61.
Well, I thought that odd numbers go north and south, even numbers go east and west.
Right, but it's not always a perfect graph.
Fair.
Sometimes they meander around.
Fair.
Well, I'm going to Google it during the break. And again, I'm not involved in any way if something terrible happens here. We're just trying to help people out. The intentions are good, Doug. Hopefully, everybody arrives safely and nobody is mistreated, just in case anything goes sideways. That was Brown and Crouppen is our presenting sponsor. I've got their number handy at 222-2222. All right, email of the day is coming your way shortly. It's the Design Air email of the day. Fire them off at the morning after at InsideSTL.com.
Michael's Flooring family and locally owned for over 30 years. Michael has taken great pride in helping and making sure his employees are happy and that they make a great living. His passion's flooring. And when you order from him, he wants you to have the best experience for the best price. They have 3 locations right here in the St. Louis area. They are in Creve Coeur, they are in Dardenne Prairie, and they are in St. Peters. Come see why people are loving getting floored by Michael. And you can make sure you visit igotfloored.com. He is making sure he's going to get the best carpet installers. He gives them $7 a square yard. That's incredible compensation in the carpet installation industry. Come in, talk to them. You're going to see the difference. They want to make sure they suggest the best thing for you and not just pushing what corporate's telling them they have way too much of. That is what Michaels wants to make sure you as a customer know. Go online. And right now, you can get 3 samples free from Proximity Mills. Just go to igotfloored.com. That's igotfloored.com. That's Michael's Flooring.
This is Jackson with a Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Devin Booker and the Phoenix Suns agreed to a 2-year, $145 million maximum contract extension with the franchise that's going through the 29-30 season. That's the highest annual extension salary in NBA history. That was another Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Got a good deep dive. I think I might have mentioned the great Dougie Mack on the show. He was the sports information director at SLU. I don't know if he wanted me to read this on the air or not, but he basically just helped a little bit of the backstory there when it was Romar at SLU, Snyder at Mizzou, and talking about SLU and Mizzou playing a basketball. 3 great games. Each school made $300,000. We had 30,000 fans at the Dome. SLU won the game, but he said after the game, Snyder called it the worst loss in the history of the program.
Oh, jeez.
Which I think may have a domino effect on what we've seen since.
I think Mizzou believes, and maybe correctly so, I don't know, that they're just a little bit on a different plateau from all the other colleges in the state, that being in the SEC, they have a better image, a bigger, more important image than every other school, and it does them no good to play schools within their state that aren't on that same plateau that they're on.
That's their vibe, you're saying. That's kind of their take.
Yeah.
Well, I think Mizzou for sure would, if they're being honest, have an arrogance about, well, why do we need to play SLU? That's what they would simply say. Why should we play SLU? And then the answer might be, is it SLU fans would love to play Mizzou. Would Mizzou do Mizzou? You're a Mizzou guy. You would like to see him play SLU. If you're not in St. Louis, does that game do anything for you as a Mizzou fan? Maybe not. And maybe they've taken that into account.
And I'm sure Mizzou's not the only big state school that doesn't want to play the smaller schools in their state for fear of having their own image tarnished a little bit.
Tim can't come back soon enough. You turds haven't given a Scottish Open leaderboard update on the show yet.
Well, I guess we could get to that.
What we're going to get to is the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today. Before that, Tim's going to tell us about the sponsor of email today. That's Design Air.
Design Air Heating and Cooling is online at designairservice.com. That's Seth Goldcamp and his team, the longest-running sponsor on TMA. Doug's a client, Martin's a client, and I'm a client as well. We welcome you to become a client of Design Air Heating and Cooling. No upselling, 4th-generation service that you can count on. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling. As the weather warms up in the St. Louis area and you run into any HVAC issues, work with Design Air Heating and Cooling. 4th-generation St. Louis business. Seth Goldcamp and his family have served over tens of thousands since 1904, and it's the longest-running TMA supporter on the program. The best known honesty and going above and beyond. That's Design Air Heating and Cooling. They'll never upsell. They'll always give you exactly what you need. That's how they train their employees. Find them online at designairservice.com. Their website is easy to navigate with convenience of online scheduling. It's Design Air Heating and Cooling online at designairservice.com.
All right, boys.
All right, this just in. Nico Echevarria, Jake Knapp, and the bastard Seb Straka share the first-round lead at the Scottish Open. They're all -6.
There you go. A little update for you.
Okay.
Jake Knapp, one of the smoothest swings on tour.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to do the Design Air Heating and Cooling email today.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Too many callers today, boys. Keaton, Keith, Tony, Eric, Lisa. What was the highlight from all of that? I got one cuss word from Lisa and some talk about sky pigging instant potatoes in a bag of smelly tuna. They call that dead air, maestros.
No, they don't.
On the YouTube chats, we all decided we'd rather have more Tim voiceovers in exchange for these ridiculous dead air phone calls, but you guys wouldn't know what we want in YouTube land without you. The YouTube chatters suffer total irrelevancy. Martin can't even be bothered to mention our presence, but he lies about his deep sweater wardrobe and his many Helen Fitzgerald drinking sessions. Chairman, quote-unquote, lathered up and getting pickleball gets me hot and bothered, but it's Doug I want to see sweaty and in motion out on that court. Onward, fellas. That's from Jake in St. Genevieve.
Jake. In St. Genevieve.
And we love our friends in the Michelob Ultra YouTube channel.
I have to be honest, I do forget. In my visual, Tim is directly across from the board.
Yeah.
It's to my right, and God forbid I would actually turn my head.
Tomorrow I'll be vigilant.
Will you?
Yeah, for sure. That should bring an abrupt end this email feels like I'm starting in the middle. That should bring an abrupt end of any B team talk, the way you guys absolutely crushed the area code discussion with DJ LeMahieu getting DFA'd. Can't the Cardinals sign him to be the starting pitcher tonight and avoid the train wreck that we all know is coming? We all know the position player is going to end up toeing the slab anyway. Separately, Jackson trying to say Bengals is not my ringtone. That comes from Shooter McGavin, the vice president of movie theater instant potatoes. We aren't just for airplanes anymore.
Shooter McGavin trying to bring instant mashed potatoes to theaters.
But we crushed it with the area code
discussion.
It felt good.
That did feel good. Hey, Bengals, maybe instead of taking Theater 402, 20th Century American Cinema, focus on Wes Anderson, you should have taken English 101, remedial English for Ladue grad. That comes from Tushy's Tushy? Tukey's Tushy?
Tukey's Tushy.
It's supposed to be Tukus Tushy?
He's new.
That's
Tukey's Tushy.
Tucci's? Let's go Tucci's. Let's go Stanley Tucci. It's spelled like Stanley. I should have picked up on that. Tucci's Tushy.
Like Kim Tucci, the great pasta house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello, all. B Team. I understand you got on the show like 10 months ago, but I'm going to help you out a bit. The listeners have this crazy app called the 101 app. You can listen on there and also record your voice and send it to a selected name, and it's called a mic drop. You should try to play one sometime because you can filter out people. You use the phone lines where Festus Fats and Sharings can call in either still drinking from the night before or no one, and I mean no one wants to hear that. We had to listen to a rant by a man who probably says the same thing in the car with his wife and kids after his wife says, honey, you're scaring the kids. How do you mishear cheeseburger with manager? I'm guessing years of sugar abuse led to diabetic hearing loss. He seemed to like the kind of dad who yells at his kids during T-ball and tries to beat up the umpire afterwards. This is for you, Tim. I know you're listening on your bed at home, on your chest. Nope. Wishing well. I miss hearing your cute little voice. Wishing Tuesday could be here now. That comes from Average Size Shabongas.
Average size Shabongas.
Cheeseburger. I did ask Mark and Quincy what the texters were wanting to know if he had a cheeseburger for breakfast, and he started talking baseball strategy. Yeah. I tried.
You did try. And then finally, I mean, this email is like written in invisible ink. So I'm going to give my best here. I'm going to have to
He's
scoot
literally
it up.
kissing the screen.
All right, morning, fellas. Just wanted to thank all the Cap Lock Kings and entitled brats in the YouTube chat for their relentless contributions today. Truly a masterclass in shout typing. It was inspiring to watch a group of grown men, adults, melt down in real time after their fourth attempt at getting their unfunny comment right on the air when ignored, eventually leading to the anonymous comment. I can't read this.
No, for heaven's sake.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
Okay. By the way, we love the Michelob Ultra YouTube chat. This is nonsense.
That's you saying that, not the email.
Right. Well, yeah, I'm speaking for myself. The way you all kept hammering the same whiny punchlines over and over again like a drywall anchor with a pool noodle. That's grit, baby. That's show business. And to the guy who typed, read my comment, cowards, 6 times in 45 seconds, and then has announced his departure because the show no longer caters to his audience. I know it's hard when your joke doesn't land, but maybe, just maybe, the issue isn't censorship, and this dais being the equivalent of the freshman B team, is that your material has the comedic edge of a youth group icebreaker and your blood pressure is too high for you to see it. Anyway, stay brave out there. The algorithm sees you. Warmest regards. It's from Dalton and everyone else who closed the chat this morning.
Dalton and everyone else who chose to chat this morning.
Chose to chat.
Okay.
That's going to do it for our Design Air Heating and Cooling email today.
Oh, gosh.
Design Air is where you go for all your tax services, right, Jackson? Is that right?
Doug, what you got?
Well, I haven't really decided yet. As I look at the list here, I wrote them all down. I guess...
Sounds like he's having a heart attack.
Yeah,
I guess I'll go for Tucci's Tushy.
Ooh. You just wanted to say that.
I did.
I went with Shooter McGavin. I like the Bengals as a ringtone, and also the fact that we crushed it on area code conversation.
I'm with you, Martin. I like Shooter McGavin.
Wow, just like that.
Yep. That's our winner for today's Design Air Heating and Cooling email today, and those Major League Pickleball tickets.
The Michaelis math projections on the line tonight. We'll have our results tomorrow. 47 and 61 highways, by the way, do intersect, thanks to all of our cartographers out there who sent in not just a correction for us, but an actual visual. Hopefully the bottomless Tim's Tooth boy, but hopefully he gets a ride home. And we'll see you back here tomorrow at 7 a.m. BK Ferrario on deck here on 101 ESPN.